Chapter 2781. What? One of the imperial court's protectors exclaimed in shock, causing everyone around to be stunned as they looked at him in shock. Cough, 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 cough. How is this possible? How is this possible? The old man stood there and ignored them. He stared at the computer in his hand in disbelief, and his expression kept changing. What's wrong, Elder Fei? One of the protectors couldn't help but ask. The other protectors frowned and immediately turned on the computer in their hands. Emperor Night God has fallen. Dragon Palace killed Emperor Night God. Dragon Palace has Void God Emperor level cultivators. The moment he turned on the computer, he saw all sorts of similar headlines. There was also a lot of information in his communication device. The Imperial Court protectors were stunned when they saw these titles. Their eyes widened as a bad premonition surged in their hearts. Look at the announcement from Nine Heavens Sect and Heaven-Breaking Sect. At this moment, the expression of the old man who spoke first changed as he growled in a low voice. The group of Imperial Court protectors immediately searched for information on Nine Heaven Shattering Heavens and the others. After opening it, they saw an announcement. Emperor Night God has fallen. The experts of Imperial Court and Night Clan on Cold Night Island have all been killed by Dragon Palace. Nine Heavens Sect did not participate in this matter. We are willing to fight for humanity, but we will not participate in internal conflicts. It was a line of words, but also a statement. Nine Heavens Breaking Sect's forces were sandwiched between Dragon Palace and Imperial Court. They didn't dare to make a choice. They could only make a statement to express their neutrality. But when the Imperial Dynasty's protectors saw this announcement, all of them shuddered. Nine Heavens Sect and Heaven-Breaking Sect couldn't just make a statement like that. Their statement meant that the information was true. This caused the protectors' expressions to turn extremely ugly. At the same time, their eyes were filled with deep shock. Emperor Night God had fallen. Even though Emperor Night God had just become an Emperor God, he was still an Emperor God. Now, he had fallen. How long had it been since an Emperor God had fallen in the Imperial Star region? This made their scalps go numb. And under the statement from Nine Heavens Breaking Sect and Heaven Breaking Sect, the number of comments increased by 100 million every second. Everyone felt that it was inconceivable, so they were all very shocked. A few days ago, the Night God Emperor had appeared and suppressed the entire Imperial Star region. How long had it been? He actually died. Moreover, did the Dragon Palace have the power to destroy the Night God Emperor? How could a small Dragon Palace have such an ability? Many people couldn't believe it, but after all, it was a statement from two great sections. The continent of the Nine Clouds was very famous in the Imperial Star region. They couldn't joke about a God Emperor. They didn't dare. This stunned everyone in the Imperial Star region. Just now, countless people in the Imperial Star region had mocked the Dragon Palace for courting death. Now, it was a naked slap in the face. There were also some comments below the two sects that caught their attention. The Dragon Palace is very powerful. They have close to 300,000 Immortal King experts. They have a powerful array master who can make arrays that can resist God Emperor experts. In terms of power, the Dragon Palace has 2 God Emperor experts, close to 300,000 Immortal King experts, and that giant thing that flew out from the deep abyss. It's the Dragon King's subordinates, God Emperor subordinates. The Dragon Palace is too terrifying. The Imperial Court, the Night Clan, and the Sky Demon Sect were all destroyed by the Dragon Palace. Not a single one was left alive. A battle between God Emperors. I saw it with my own eyes. The entire deep abyss is raining after the Night God Emperor died. The comments were obviously from Nine Heavens Breaking Sect and the experts and disciples of the other forces. Open the highest authority of the AI, contact an ancestor of the Nine Clouds sect. At this moment, a protector of the Imperial Court roared with a gloomy expression. Open the highest authority, contact an ancestor of the Nine Clouds sect. The AI's voice rang out. All the Imperial Dynasty protectors walked over with interesting expressions on their faces. The death of the Night God Emperor and the strength of the Dragon Palace. If it was all true, they couldn't imagine the consequences. Buzz. At the same time, in the void, an incomparably huge group of people was flying majestically. Their leader was an expert from the Nine Heavens Great Sect, the Heaven-Shattering Sect. In the abyss, a group of abyssal species was approaching the entrance under the lead of an emperor god. They knew that they couldn't stay here for long. However, the intelligence system on the wrist of the elder at the very front suddenly lit up, forcefully displaying an image. Huh! The ancestor of the Nine Clouds sect was shocked as he stared at the image displayed by the AI. I'm a protector of the imperial court. I have something to ask you. An old man appeared in the image. Beside him, there were dozens of others. The voice was heard and Ancestor Nine Heaven's expression changed. He waved his arm and everyone stopped. Protectors of the imperial court, what can I do for you? Ancestor Nine Heavens asked respectfully. Tell me everything that happened in the Deep Abyss battlefield. Don't leave anything out and don't lie. If you do, you know the consequences. The protector of the imperial court asked with an expressionless face. Yes, protectors. What I'm about to say is the truth. I dare not hide anything. Ancestor Nine Heavens said quickly. Then, he told them everything that happened in the Deep Abyss battlefield. Hearing what Ancestor Nine Heavens said, the protectors of the imperial court fell silent. After that, the image on the AI disappeared. Ancestor, something big is going to happen. The experts of the Nine Heavens Great Sect watched as the screen disappeared. They were shocked and said, What? Something big is going to happen. I hope we won't be dragged into it. Ancestor Nine Heavens nodded and said helplessly. He knew how terrifying it would be when the protectors didn't say a word. Huff. At this moment, within the vast palace, the group of Imperial Dynasty protectors stood there and panted heavily. Each and every one of them had an ugly expression on their faces. Let's report this to the Great Ancestor. This is no longer something we can decide. After a few minutes of silence, one of the Imperial Court's protectors said, The rest of the protectors nodded. They didn't roar in anger or scold the Dragon Palace, because it was completely useless. Moreover, the strength that the Dragon Palace had displayed shocked them. It could be said that they had the combat strength of two emperor gods. This matter was no longer something that the protectors could decide. However, they knew how troublesome this matter was for the imperial court. Chapter 2782. Hong. In front of the Abyss battlefield at the border of Pingy Island and Imperial Court. In a void crevice at the back of the battlefield, a shrine was hidden within. All of a sudden, the entire palace trembled. Looking in that direction, one could see cracks appearing in the void. Long cracks appeared in the entire sky. A terrifying pressure was emitted from within. The shrine was shrouded in clouds and mist. Three vast figures sat on three thrones floating in the air. At the front, dozens of Imperial Dynasty protectors bowed respectfully. Their faces were slightly pale. The rumble just now came from a great ancestor of Imperial Court slamming his palm on the thrones angrily. This caused the group of Imperial Court protectors to hold their breaths. Emperor Knight has fallen. That Dragon Palace also has the fighting power of an Emperor God. If I'm not wrong, the huge creature that flew out from the abyss is one of the giant beast system. A vast figure looked at the furious old man in the middle and said, Emperor Knight has fallen. It's going to be dangerous. We have to send someone over to Cold Night Island. Otherwise, the abyss will expand deep into our imperial court. The vast figure on the right said solemnly. That Dragon Palace might be in cahoots with that woman from the giant beast system. Coupled with the battle of an emperor god from Dragon Palace, we will be in danger. The vast figure in the center roared in a low voice as he suppressed his anger. Their imperial court had 3 emperor god experts on the surface. However, they had one more in the dark. Originally, they were prepared to make a sudden move on this side of the battlefield. In a 4-on-3 situation, they could kill 80% of the abyss species. But now that Emperor Knight had fallen and Dragon Palace had teamed up with the giant beast system, it became a 4-on-4 situation. Another point was that they couldn't just ignore Cold Night Island. At the very least, they had to send an emperor god over. 3-on-4. In such a situation, if they couldn't hold back the void god emperor, their imperial court would suffer heavy losses. Bring all the resources of Dragon Palace over. The vast figure on the left said, "Yes, great ancestor." A protector answered immediately. He waved his arm and information appeared in front of the three emperor gods. "Great ancestor, seeing the development of the Dragon Palace, I feel that it is a little unbelievable. Their growth speed is simply terrifying." The protector couldn't help but ask. From the information they obtained, the Dragon Palace had developed to such a level in less than 6 years from a weak organization that only had a few god kings. This was simply a fantasy story. However, the information that the Imperial Court found in the Imperial Star region wouldn't be wrong. This Dragon Palace is growing at the same speed as that woman. Extremely fast and terrifying. The three emperor gods narrowed their eyes when they saw the information regarding the Dragon Palace, and one of them said in a deep voice, "Back then, the Imperial Court chased after that woman, and in just a few years, that woman brought disaster to the Imperial Court. The development of the Dragon Palace was no slower than that woman. It was obvious that Dragon Palace and that woman knew each other. Say, do you think it's possible that they're the reincarnation of some powerful existence after their death?" The massive figure on the right frowned, feeling uneasy. That woman and the Dragon Palace had risen too fast, so fast that they were terrified. Even god emperors like them felt fearful. This kind of speed of improvement, they could only think of it as the result of some terrifying existence recultivating with a drop of blood. Furthermore, it wasn't just one expert, but many. Such an enemy was extremely terrifying. The elder's words made the other two massive figures grip their thrones tightly. They felt uneasy. Then, "Great ancestor, what should we do?" A hint of fear flashed through the eyes of the Imperial Court's protectors as they asked. "It's hard to say if it's a powerful existence recultivating with a drop of blood, but it won't be that easy to deal with the Imperial Court," the massive figure on the left said with a cold expression. The protectors were shocked and their expressions kept changing. From what the great ancestor and the others said, they couldn't do anything about the Dragon Palace and the current situation. "Maintain the current situation for now." After a long silence, the Emperor God in the center said helplessly. The situation was already out of control for them. "Great ancestor, why don't we ask the Dragon Palace and the Giant Beast Department? What are they trying to do?" One of the Imperial Court protectors said with a changing expression. His words caused the surrounding protectors to look over, and the three vast figures also slightly paused. Ask the Dragon Palace and the Giant Beast Department what they were trying to do? They were showing weakness to them and asking for peace. Humph, no need. They killed so many of our disciples. If we ask for peace, how would we be able to face them? If they really piss us off, what can the Giant Beast Department and the Dragon Palace do? The massive figure in the center shouted coldly. "Yes, yes." The protector immediately nodded and replied, "Maintain the status quo and retreat." The cold voice made the group of protectors retreat outside hurriedly. "There's still a hidden danger. How should we deal with them next?" The figure on the left said, slowly after the protectors left, "Continue to get people to investigate the Dragon Palace. Get all the details. An expert recultivating with a drop of blood shouldn't appear here. We're too far away from the 10,000 races." The figure on the right said, "Even if he's not a terrifying existence recultivating with a drop of blood, he's still an inheritor of a heaven-defying treasure." The figure on the left couldn't help but say again, "Then what should we do? Beg for mercy?" The figure on the left was slightly enraged. "Our Imperial Court has been in the Imperial Star region for more than 500 million years. We're not that easy to bully. If we really fight, we'll definitely win." The figure in the center suddenly stood up and disappeared. The two figures on the left and right looked at each other, nodded slightly and left. They didn't have any way to deal with the current situation. Kill their way over and destroy the Dragon Palace? Not to mention whether they would escape or not. Once they left, the Imperial Court's territory would turn into an abyss. Once it turned into an abyss, it would be the main battlefield of the Abyss species and the Giant Beast Department. Now, they could only wait for all the favorable news. Or, they could maintain a tacit balance between the two sides. As for asking for peace, the Imperial Court definitely wouldn't do that. Because they were the Imperial Court, the kings of this region. They had their own glory and radiance. The imperial court that had stood for hundreds of millions of years, how could they be so easy to deal with? However, they also felt a sense of urgency and danger, like a sword hanging on a beam. Chapter 2783. Woo Woo. Dragon King. Dragon King. At the same time, Wang Xian arrived at the planet where the Dragon Palace was located through the teleportation array and little mansion. Next to it, the towering dragon peak towered there. Seeing the arrival of Dragon Palace, the group of Dragon Palace members greeted respectfully. Let's go back to the Dragon Palace first. Wang Xian nodded at them and patted Little Mansion's head. Let's go and take a look at your future home. Woo Woo. Little Mansion nodded slightly and flew towards the Dragon Palace. With a thought, Wang Xian led Little Mansion in. Feeling the energy within, Little Mansion could not help but cheer. Prime Minister Turtle, send someone to bring all the dragon blood in the dragon transformation pool for me to consume. He turned to Prime Minister Turtle and ordered, Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle replied, Also, call all the leaders over and tell them to bring all the resources we have obtained this time. Wang Xian ordered again, Yes. Arriving at the Dragon King Hall, the leaders of Dragon Palace, Tianjun and the rest walked in quickly. Greetings, Dragon King. Everyone's faces were filled with excitement as they bowed respectfully. Tell me, how are the rewards from this battle? Wang Xian waved his hand and asked with a smile, Dragon King, we have gained a lot from this battle. 1 Void God Kingdom, 1 God Emperor Corpse, 11 Immortal King Corpses, 65 Ninth Order God King Corpses, and about 140,000 God King Corpses. In addition, Dujio obtained 3 Ninth Order God King Abyssal Species Corpses and over 10,000 God King Corpses. In addition, all the resources combined should be comparable to 3 to 4 Pinnacle God King Corpses. Prime Minister Turtle replied with a smile, Dragon King, can I continue to improve? Tianjun could not help but ask excitedly, Yes. Wang Xian smiled as he sat there. Tianjun had contributed greatly to this battle. Moreover, after the Heavenly Array was upgraded, it would not be a simple upgrade. Once the Heavenly Array was upgraded, it would be able to exterminate a First-Order God Emperor realm existence. With sufficient preparation, he could even eliminate 2 or 3 of them. However, Long Feng's strength had reached the upper limit. Unless there was a God Emperor Realm Divine Tree as a base, the Heavenly Array wouldn't be able to create something that could kill 3 First-Order God Emperor Realm Brambles. However, we still have some things to do. We have to go into the abyss, said Wang Xian. It's Dragon King. Tianjin nodded his head slightly. He knew that he still had some matters to attend to. With the current situation, we don't know how the Imperial Court will react. Everyone, don't level up for now. Everyone, get ready. Once the Imperial Court God Emperor comes, immediately escape into the abyss. Wang Xian continued to instruct. It's Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle and the others nodded. No one knew how the Imperial Court would react, but the Dragon Palace had to be prepared. Heavenly Array, Earth Cultivators, follow me into the abyss. Wang Xian stood up immediately and said to him, Yes. Tucson and Heavenly Formation immediately responded. Otaku. Wang Xian shouted and the 3 of them came to the front of the house. Woo Woo. Xiao Zhai stuck out his tongue with excitement in his eyes. He wanted to ask for food. No more, I'll give you more in the future. Take us to your master. Wang Xian patted on Xiao Zhai and said to him, Woo Woo. Xiao Zhai answered immediately. Xiao Xian, we'll go with you. At this time, the girls who received the news flew over and said to Wang Xian, Let's go. Wang Xian looked at them and nodded his head. I wonder how Qingyue has been over the past few years. TSK, that bad guy from the Imperial Court, will annihilate them in the future. That's right. They left Qingyue alone in the abyss for several years. We don't even know where Lingxiu is now. The girls said angrily as they came to the top of Xiao Zhai's head. Let's go. Qingyue is fine, and so will Lingxiu. She still has the Earth Divine Dragon to protect her. Wang Xian comforted the girls. When Tuzha had obtained the Divine Dragon Soul, he had sensed that something was amiss. However, he hadn't been willing to give up his Divine Dragon body. Later on, he met Qingyue and the rest. Qingyue could sense his divine dragon body. During the pursuit, Tucson was almost annihilated. His body collapsed, and Qingyue separated his body. One was a divine dragon body, and the other was similar to Kuin's. The Earth Divine Dragon's body was separated from them along with Lingxiu. All of this was caused by the imperial court. The Dragon Palace would take revenge soon. Woo-woo. Xiao Zhai flew out of the Dragon Palace and let out a low growl. A black hole appeared in front of him, and he dived into it. Wong. In the next moment, they arrived at a faraway place. Xiao Zhai flew at full speed and soon entered the abyss. Woo-woo. Xiao Zhai was like a king when he entered the abyss. He exuded the aura of a void god emperor. Some abyss species in the abyss immediately prostrated themselves and didn't dare to move. Some of the characteristics of Kuin were similar to the abyss species. I'll be able to see Qingyue in a few hours. Wang Xian murmured with anticipation in his eyes. As the saying goes, absence makes the heart grow fonder. They had been separated for about 7 years. They had never been apart for so long. While Wang Xian and the rest were flying towards Lan Qingyue under the lead of Xiao Zhai, the Imperial Star Domain was still in an uproar. What's going on? It's been a few hours, and there's no response from the Imperial Court? I heard that 5 guardians of the Imperial Court were killed by the Dragon Palace, and the remaining disciples were tens of millions. Why isn't the Imperial Court responding? Oh yes, what's going on? There's no response from the Imperial Court. Could it be that they're afraid of the Dragon Palace? That's possible. After all, the Abyss War has broken out. Now that the Dragon Palace has appeared, the Imperial Court might not have the time to deal with it. I heard that the Abyss on the Cold Night Island is devouring the void crazily. The Night Clan has also fallen because of the Dragon Palace. Almost all their pinnacle experts have been killed. Countless people were discussing on the AI. They were shocked that the Imperial Court didn't respond in the past few hours. At the same time, they were filled with sympathy for the Night Clan, and some were mocking them. Our Imperial Court doesn't do anything. Once we do, we will definitely destroy them. So what if there are 2 void god emperors in the Dragon Palace? We have been standing in this void for more than 600 million years. How can a Dragon Palace go against us? To deal with external threats, we must first settle our internal affairs. All of you, just watch. It won't be long before our Imperial Court destroys the Dragon Palace. So what if there are 2 void god emperors? Very soon, the Dragon Palace will become stray dogs. However, to the disciples of the Imperial Court and the people in the Imperial Court's territory, the Imperial Court didn't do anything because they were preparing. Once they did, they would definitely destroy the Dragon Palace. Chapter 2784. The artificial intelligence system was full of discussions. The disciples of the Imperial Court firmly believed that the Imperial Court was invincible and that the Dragon Palace would be destroyed soon. Many people supported this view, but many didn't agree. To them, the Imperial Court was much stronger than the Dragon Palace and had been in the Imperial Star region for more than 600 million years. Their foundation was unfathomable, but it was impossible to destroy the Dragon Palace. After all, the Dragon Palace had 2 God Emperor-level experts. The entire Imperial Court only had 3 God Emperors. Even if they were stronger than the Dragon Palace, the chance of destroying the Dragon Palace was too small. The artificial intelligence system was full of arguments. The Imperial Court kept silent. It wasn't that they didn't want to erupt, but that they couldn't. Especially when they found out that the Dragon Palace was related to that woman from the Giant Beast clan. The Imperial Court couldn't do anything. They could attack the Dragon Palace on the Demon Island, but they would also be attacked by the Giant Beast clan. It was hard to say who would lose more. The Imperial Court didn't want to see such a situation. But 5 hours later, the Imperial Court made a statement. The Dragon Palace is in cahoots with the God Emperor and the Abyss species. The Giant Beast clan is from the Dragon Palace. This news shook the entire Imperial Star region. The Dragon Palace is in cahoots with the God Emperor of the Abyss? They are in cahoots with the Abyss species? Is this for real? The Dragon Palace is the enemy of humanity, the enemy of the entire Imperial Star region. Destroy the Dragon Palace. Destroy them. No wonder the Imperial Court didn't destroy the Dragon Palace. They are in cahoots with the Abyss species. They are traitors of humanity. Destroy the Dragon Palace. On the smart brain, some people didn't believe it, but the humans within the Imperial Dynasty territory did believe it. Apart from that, someone from the Nine Heavens Breaking sect also said that a god emperor-level giant flew over from the Abyss and was a subordinate of the Dragon King. Being able to enter the Abyss and ally with the Abyss species meant that the Dragon Palace was a traitor of humanity. More and more people on the artificial intelligence system shouted that they wanted to destroy the Dragon Palace and the Dragon King. Even the experts from the Nine Heavens Breaking sect were shocked by the Imperial Court statement. Imperial Court's statement might be true, but they also knew how many abyssal species the Dragon Palace had killed. The Dragon Palace was the leader of the hero ranking and the faction merit ranking. Why did they hunt the Abyss species that were on the same side as them? Or kill a peak God King Realm Abyss species? This was very suspicious. Things might not be that simple. However, although there were all sorts of suspicions, the artificial intelligence system, under the intentional guidance of the Imperial Court, caused the Dragon Palace to become an existence that everyone hated. Filled with righteous indignation, everyone declared that they would destroy the Dragon Palace. He supported the Imperial Court's God-Emperor experts to kill the traitors of the human race. After all, it was the Dragon Palace that brought war to them. Dragon King, we're almost there. Wang Xian and the rest did not know about the information on the artificial intelligence. Even if he knew, he wouldn't care. The brain belonged to the Imperial Dynasty, and they could say whatever they wanted. Dragon Palace couldn't retort at all. The Tisonian stared ahead and said to Wang Xian, "Are we almost there?" Wang Xian stood up and stared ahead with anticipation in his eyes. "That is the Sea of Abyss?" Wang Xian stared ahead and a vast ocean appeared in his line of sight. How big was this ocean? He couldn't see its boundaries and couldn't sense its boundaries. Yes, Dragon King. We call it the Sea of Abyss. The entire Sea of Abyss is huge. Even Xiaolan can swim in it for a few hours, said the Tisonian with a smile. Wang Xian nodded and stared ahead. Woo woo woo. When Xiao Zhai got closer, he let out a long roar that reverberated towards the depths of the Sea of Abyss. Woo woo woo. Dozens of seconds later, a response was heard. Wang Xian stared ahead. He could sense a familiar aura getting closer and closer to him. Woo woo. 5 minutes later, a humongous figure appeared in their sight. Above that humongous figure stood a beautiful figure. Looking at that figure, Wang Xian was overwhelmed with excitement. Qingyue, Qingyue. Shu Qing and the rest shouted excitedly from the side. Lan Qingyue extended her hand and waved in their direction. Qingyue. As they got closer, the group of girls flew over and hugged Lan Qingyue when Xiao Zhai and Xiao Lan stopped. Qingyue. Sisters, we meet again. The group of girls hugged each other with reddened eyes. It had been 7 years. It had been 7 years since Lan Qingyue, Sun Lingxiu, and Xiao Lan went missing to hold back the Thunderclap God. If it weren't for Lan Qingyue and the rest, they would have been dead. The group of girls were exceptionally grateful to Lan Qingyue. Move aside, let me hug you. Wang Xian walked over and said with a smile as he looked at the girls hugging each other. Xiao Xian. The group of girls laughed. Lan Qingyue looked at Wang Xian with sparkling eyes. Come on, let your husband hug you. Wang Xian smiled, walked over and hugged her shoulders. Xiao Xian, I didn't take good care of Lingxiu. All right. I know what happened to Lingxiu. Let's go look for her. I can sense that she's safe now. Lan Qingyue spoke with reddened eyes but was interrupted by Wang Xian. It's been hard on you for the past 7 years. Wang Xian said slowly as he patted Lan Qingyue's shoulders. It's nothing. I just miss you a little. Lan Qingyue said softly. Hee. Wang Xian smiled and patted her head. Leave the future to me. Humph. I'm already very powerful now. Lan Qingyue lifted her head slightly and said confidently. Who would have thought that a goddess who owned 2 God-Emperor-level pets would be like this? All right, our Qingyue is very powerful. Wang Xian nodded with a smile. Let's go to the palace in Xiaolan's body. We still have some matters to settle. Lan Qingyue said with a smile. Let's go. Wang Xian nodded and the group flew to Xiao Lan's mouth immediately. Woo-woo. When Xiao Lan saw Wang Xian, it let out an excited roar. Hee. Wang Xian patted it and entered the palace in its body. Xiao Lan, which was over 100 kilometers in size, was equivalent to a small town in its body. Xiao Xian, Lingxia was separated from me because of the experts of the imperial court. I don't know where she is now. I must take revenge. Lan Qingyue came to the palace and exuded a murderous aura. After a few years of pursuit and a few moments of life and death, Lingxia's whereabouts were unknown. Lan Qingyue had to take revenge. After 7 years of adulthood, she had grown into a decisive ancient god Kuan breeder who could take charge of an area. Chapter 2785. Qingyue, what's the situation on your side? In the palace within Xiaolan, Wang Xian looked at Lan Qingyue with heartache and asked, Xiao Xian, we have the upper hand. I don't know how many god emperors there are in the imperial court, but we can attack and defend with the Abyss main battlefield. We have 18 peak Immortal King experts and over 20 billion Abyss species. Xiao Lan is comparable to a second-order Void God Emperor, and Xiao Zhai is a first-order Void God Emperor. Given our strength, we are not a match for the imperial court. But we have an Emperor God Realm Abyss species here. We have formed an alliance, and it has a lot of subordinates. There are dozens of peak Immortal King level Abyss species and hundreds of billions of members. This attack on the imperial court was initiated by it. That's why we joined in. Lan Qingyue said to Wang Xian, Qingyue, your forces are not weak either. Wang Xian sighed when he heard her. 18 peak Immortal King subordinates. That's a lot more than the current Dragon Palace. It's all right. I have an agreement with that Abyss species to attack the Imperial Court's frontline 5 days later. The Imperial Court is already prepared. Lan Qingyue smiled. 5 days later? Can you delay it for half a month? In half a month, the Dragon Palace can improve tremendously. Wang Xian's eyes flickered as he said, half a month? Shouldn't be a problem. But I think Xiao Xian, the Dragon Palace doesn't need to participate. The battle this time will definitely be exceptionally tragic. My current subordinates are a group of abyssal species. They only obeyed orders because they were intimidated by Little Blue's pressure. They don't have high intelligence and only know how to kill. If they die, they die. Lan Qingyue frowned and said, Hee, don't worry. The Dragon Palace will improve tremendously this time. By then, I will have the combat power of an Emperor God. Moreover, there will be another Emperor God in the Dragon Palace. Emperor Night God of the Night Clan has fallen. I think we can summon the Emperor God Abyss species from the Cold Night Island and launch a joint attack. Our Dragon Palace can launch a surprise attack, or we can kill our way to their base camp. Wang Xian smiled. That works too. Lan Qingyue nodded slightly. If there were 2 more God Emperor level existences during the war, it could almost change the situation of the war. Let's talk about the details later. Let me see if I can build a Dragon Palace in this Abyss Sea. If it is possible, it will be convenient. At that time, I can put the main Dragon Palace here. If it is not possible, I can only build a teleportation formation here. Wang Xian stood up, made a move, and flew out. Lan Qingyue and the rest immediately followed behind. Ding! Build Dragon Palace? As he came to the sky above Xiaolan, the notification of the system sounded. Wang Xian's eyes lit up. He took out the materials and immediately built a Dragon Palace here. Haha, it will be much more convenient with this Dragon Palace. When Wang Xian saw the Dragon Palace that was completed, he was thrilled. Being able to build a Dragon Palace in the Abyss meant that one could directly teleport from the Abyss to other Dragon Palaces. In this case, if the main Dragon Palace were to be moved here, Wang Xian and the rest would be able to evade the crisis easily, even if the Celestial Emperor of the Imperial Court were to launch a surprise attack on the Dragon Palace on the Demon Island. Even protecting the North River Sect and the Moon Sect wouldn't be a problem at all. Let's go back to the main Dragon Palace first, Wang Xian said to one of them. Let's go, Qingyue. Let's go home. The group of girls immediately entered the Dragon Palace and teleported to the main Dragon Palace through the teleportation formation. Lan Qingyue looked at the familiar Dragon Palace with a smile. Wang, After entering the main dragon palace, Lan Qingyue looked around. Let's go, Qingyue. The dragon palace has been upgraded while you were away. Let's bring you around. The group of girls crowded around Lan Qingyue and said immediately, don't be in such a hurry. I'll accompany Qingyue first. Cough, cough. You guys can come over too. Wang Xian coughed and immediately flew towards the Dragon King Palace with Lan Qingyue. As for what they were going to do, of course, they were going to do it. The group of girls rolled their eyes at her and didn't say anything. After all, it had been 7 years. A few hours later, Wang Xian flew out of the bedroom above the Dragon King Palace comfortably. His face was glowing. Lan Qingyue followed behind with a smile. Prime Minister Turtle, control the Dragon Palace and fly into the abyss immediately. Inform the moon sects to stay on the planets with dragon palaces. If they are attacked by the experts of the Imperial Court, enter the Dragon Palace and teleport them to the main Dragon Palace. Wang Xian immediately ordered Prime Minister Turtle when he arrived at the Dragon King Palace. Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle nodded and responded immediately. The rest of the experts of the Dragon Palace, come to the Dragon Transformation Pool. Wang Xian shouted and his voice reverberated throughout the Dragon Palace. Yes, Dragon King. All the members of the Dragon Palace answered loudly. Wang Xian also moved and came to the Dragon Transformation Pool. The entire Dragon Transformation Pool was filled with dragon blood. The sacred dragon blood gave off a fragrance that made one want to devour it. Tianjun, get ready. I'm about to break through. Wang Xian said with a smile when he saw Tianjun. I'm finally going to break through. Tianjun's eyes were filled with excitement. After another breakthrough, he would regain the strength of an emperor god. Although he was still far from his peak, he was very close. All members of the Dragon Palace, according to Prime Minister Turtle's instructions, enter the Dragon Transformation Pool for improvement. Wang Xian looked across the members and said, Yes, Dragon King. All the members of the Dragon Palace answered immediately and flew towards the Dragon Transformation Pool. The entire Dragon Transformation Pool contained the resources for this war. The corpse of Emperor Knight could help Tianjun raise his strength to the Emperor God level. 10 Immortal King corpses could help Wang Xian possess the strength of an Emperor God. In addition to the resources, the Dragon Palace could produce another 6 Immortal King Realm experts and 65 Ninth Order God King Realm experts. After all the members of the Dragon Palace were upgraded, the number of God King Realm experts in the Dragon Palace could reach 350,000. Currently, there were only about 400,000 members in the Dragon Palace. Even with the addition of AOC's Devouring Dragon, there were only slightly more than 500,000. A 90% chance of possessing the strength of a God King was already very strong. I'll leave the matters of the Dragon Palace to you guys. As Wang Xian spoke, he leaped into the Dragon Transformation Pool. Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle and the rest answered immediately. Roar, roar. With a roar, Wang Xian turned into a 7-colored divine dragon and landed in the middle of the Dragon Transformation Pool. At the side, Tianjun also entered the pool. Hundreds of thousands of members of the Dragon Palace also entered the pool to improve themselves. Half a month later, the strength of the Dragon Palace would be earth-shattering. Chapter 2786, Boom, Boom. Located in the center of Demon Island, the gigantic Dragon Palace flew out from a star sea and headed towards the abyss. Although the Dragon Palace was not as fast as Xiaozhai, it was not slow either. At full speed, it should be able to reach the Abyss Sea in 2 days. Long Feng followed behind. The Dragon Palace's flight attracted a lot of attention. On the Demon Island, although Jishao Tian and Yu were the main force, there were still many ordinary people on the planets. There were also many spies from the Imperial Court. The majestic Dragon Palace and Dragon Peak attracted the attention of many experts. Many people were surprised that the Dragon Palace was flying towards the abyss. This also confirmed the fact that the Dragon Palace was connected to the Abyss Divine Emperor. This matter was transmitted to the artificial intelligence system and attracted the attention of the entire Imperial Star Domain. Countless people scolded the Dragon Palace for being a traitor to humanity and said that it deserved to die. They hoped that the imperial court would take action as soon as possible to destroy the Dragon Palace. The artificial intelligence system was full of scoldings against the Dragon Palace. At first, there were some who spoke up for the Dragon Palace, but they all disappeared. Although the artificial intelligence system was scolding the Dragon Palace and asking the imperial court to destroy it, the imperial court did not respond. It was not that they did not want to destroy the Dragon Palace, but that they did not have the strength to do so. Time passed. 2 days later, the Dragon Palace arrived at the Abyss Sea. In the next few days, Wang Xian and the rest continued to improve their strength in the Dragon Transformation Pool. In the Dragon Palace, Lan Xingyue and Prime Minister Turtle were planning the next battle. The entire Imperial Star Domain was in peace for the next few days. This was the calm before the big battle. The artificial intelligence system was bustling with activity every moment. But to many people's regret, the Imperial Court still did not take action and did not destroy the Dragon Palace. Especially for the Night Clan. Countless people from the Night Clan asked the Imperial Court to send troops to destroy the Dragon Palace. Currently, the entire Night Clan only had one peak god king overseeing it. Compared to when they were at their peak, there was a huge difference. The birth of the Night God Emperor did not bring them to another peak. Instead, they fell to the bottom. Moreover, they had to be wary of the Dragon Palace at all times. What would they do if the Dragon Palace experts attacked? Great Ancestor, we found a piece of information. At this moment, more than 20 protectors of the Imperial Court stood in the void-cracked Divine Palace in front of the Pingy Abyss and reported to the 4 majestic figures in front of them. This time, all the God Emperors of the Imperial Court were here. Speak, for vast figures leaned on their thrones and asked with unsightly expressions. They were well aware of the current situation. Great Ancestor, according to our detailed investigation over the past few days, we have discovered a problem. Be it the woman from the Almighty Beast system or the Dragon Palace, they both appeared in the small, remote galaxy of the South Star system. Although that galaxy is small, it has a very famous place, the Emperor Fall battlefield. One of the protectors in the middle bowed respectfully and said, "Emperor Fall battlefield?" The 4 majestic figures sat up straight, looked at each other, and frowned slightly. They couldn't be more familiar with the Emperor's Fall battlefield and the Battle of Emperor's Fall. The Battle of Emperor's Fall had taken place in the Imperial Star region, and the 4 of them had watched from afar. That vast battle had caused their hearts to palpitate. That terrifying array master from the Heavenly Sorcerer Domain had fought against the 5 Void God Emperors of the Success Sorcerer Association alone. He fought till the heavens and earth turned dark, killing countless experts of the Success Sorcerer Association before dying. As for the Sky Formation God Emperor who had died in battle, they also knew that they were absolutely no match for him. Even with all the power of the Imperial Court, they still weren't a match for him. After that battle, the Shaman Union, one of the top powers of the 7 major regions, had fallen to its current average standard. It's the Great Ancestor, the legendary existence from the Heavenly Shaman Domain in the Emperor Fall battlefield. According to what we know, that woman and the Dragon Palace both appeared near the Emperor Fall battlefield. Another very important point is that there's an extremely powerful formation master in the Dragon Palace. The reason why Emperor Knight was killed was because that formation master had set up a formation and gathered the power of a dozen peak god kings to unleash the power of a god emperor. According to our investigation, that formation master is called Sky Formation. He's always been in charge of the Dragon Peak of the Dragon Palace, and his position in the Dragon Palace seems to be very high. The Imperial Court Protector's eyes flashed as he said, "The heavenly formation of the Dragon Palace?" The 4 vast figures were slightly shocked, their eyes flashing. We also found out that the Formation Master has an extremely powerful formation ability. He can directly teleport the enormous dragon peak over a long distance, and the formation he set up is very difficult to shake. Also, we found out that the heavenly formation of the Dragon Palace used to form a wood-type formation, very similar to the formation that the Void God Emperor once set up in the Heavenly Shaman Domain's Wood World. The Imperial Court Protector said, waving his arm, and 2 images appeared. One was a picture of the star South Galaxy's dragon planet covered in green leaves, and the other was a picture of towering trees surrounded by green leaves. The two looked extremely similar. That formation master of the Dragon Palace used to be the Sky Formation God Emperor? One of the vast figures in the center stood up and said in shock, "It's very likely." The three massive figures at the side stood up as well, their eyes shining brightly. A former legendary God Emperor is actually still alive. How unexpected, but we have no grudges with him. Also, who are the Dragon King and that woman? One of the figures murmured, "Let's not talk about the identity of the Dragon Palace Dragon King and that woman. Just the Sky Formation God Emperor alone is not someone we can fight against at his peak." The vast figure on the right said slowly, "Isn't he still dead? Until now, he hasn't recovered to his peak. Let's not talk about the others. Just the Sky Formation God Emperor alone is a hanging sword. We have to get rid of him." The figure in the center sat down slowly, his eyes flashing. The Shaman Society could kill the Sky Formation God Emperor back then. They can do the same now, and conveniently, the three figures beside him also slowly sat down, their faces revealing cold expressions. Hee, if the Shaman Society knew that the Sky Formation God Emperor isn't dead, they would definitely be so scared that they wouldn't be able to eat or sleep well. Moreover, the Sky Formation God Emperor has his own force now. The Shaman Society will definitely not let him grow fully. The four figures looked at each other, their faces revealing a faint smile. If we contact the Shaman Society, it might take 10 to 20 days. We just have to defend during this period. At that time, Dragon Palace, that woman, will all die. Chapter 2787, Great Ancestor. Can we really kill them when the experts from the Witchcraft Alliance arrive? In the Divine Hall, the protectors of the Imperial Court asked the four great ancestors excitedly, "As long as the experts from the Witchcraft Alliance arrive, they will all die." Cold smiles appeared on the faces of the four vast figures. The power of the Witchcraft Association was much stronger than that of the Imperial Court. Most importantly, every Emperor God of the Witchcraft Association was an extremely powerful array master. Each of them could fight against 2 or 3 people of the same level. Another thing was their strange and powerful array. Once a God Emperor from the Witchcraft Alliance locked onto you, they could find you even if you fled to the ends of the world. There was no way to escape. The God Emperors from the Witchcraft Alliance, including the 4 of them, would be close to 10. As for Dragon Palace and that woman, they would only have 5 Void God Emperors if they added in 2 more Abyss God Emperors. As long as the experts from the Witchcraft Alliance arrived, they could all be killed. Hee. Thinking of this, the 4 great ancestors of the Imperial Court couldn't help but laugh. Great ancestor, I will bring people to the heavenly witchcraft region as soon as possible." One of the Imperial Court protectors said excitedly, "We met the God Emperors from the Witchcraft Alliance and asked them to contact us. After all, we gave them timely news. They should thank us." The figure in the center said with a smile, "Yes, great ancestor." The group of Imperial Court protectors shouted respectfully, "Wong." The 4 gigantic figures immediately disappeared with smiles on their faces. "The 2 of you, head to the Heavenly Witchcraft region immediately and invite the experts from the Witchcraft Alliance." One of the Imperial Court protectors said immediately, "Yes, Chief Protector. We might not even need to invite them. The experts from the Witchcraft Alliance will be here soon." Hee, the group said with a smile. The Sky Array God Emperor from millions of years ago had revived and appeared in the Imperial Star Domain. If the Witchcraft Alliance knew about this, they would be shocked and rush over with all their might. They would kill the Sky Array God Emperor before he recovered to his peak. One had to know that the Witchcraft Union had regressed by hundreds of millions of years during the Battle of Emperor's Fall, and countless powerhouses had perished. We and some of our disciples have been feeling aggrieved for the past few days. A small dragon palace has killed so many of our experts and disciples. Now, we can finally let them know the consequences of offending us. Ha ha ha. The Imperial Court protectors laughed heartily. The grievances in their hearts were finally released. Send someone to monitor the entire abyss immediately. Monitor the Dragon Palace and all forces related to the Dragon Palace. Immediately announce on the AI that we will destroy the Dragon Palace in a month at most. The Imperial Court's protector roared with a cold expression. Yes, the Imperial Court protectors replied with excitement in their eyes. Ha ha ha, the Imperial Court has announced that they will destroy the Dragon Palace within a month. The protector of Dragon Palace declared that he would destroy Dragon Palace within a month. The Imperial Court is finally going to make a move. Support the annihilation of the Dragon Palace and the Dragon King. Let them know the consequences of offending the Imperial Court. Kill the 9 clans. Don't let any of the forces related to the Dragon Palace go. Destroy them. Ha ha ha. Are they finally going to make a move? No one can offend the Imperial Court. No one. I suggest we hang the head of the Dragon King up to let everyone know the consequences of offending the Imperial Court. An hour later, the Imperial Court released the news on the AI. When everyone saw the news, they were filled with excitement. It was especially so for those from the Imperial Court's territory. The Imperial Court was their faith. What happened to the Dragon Palace made them feel aggrieved. Now that the Imperial Court had finally announced that they would destroy the Dragon Palace within a month at most. This was inspiring. Many disciples of the Imperial Court were extremely excited. The AI was boiling with excitement. Everyone was looking forward to the upcoming battle against the Dragon Palace. They were looking forward to the Imperial Court's Emperor taking action a month later. The entire Imperial Star Domain was in an uproar. However, the Dragon Palace was quiet. Within the Dragon Transformation Pool, a boundless and majestic aura was constantly being emitted from it. At the center, a huge, colorful body was coiled in the center. There was a miniature dragon shadow flickering on each dragon scale. His dragon body was slowly enlarging, and each dragon scale was becoming more and more resplendent. A pair of dragon horns shone with colorful radiance. Gradually, the colorful radiance covered Wang Xian's entire body. Ding! Congratulations to the host for leveling up to level 5 Immortal God King. Boom! At this moment, the system's voice sounded, following which, a majestic aura was emitted towards the surroundings. In the Dragon Transformation Pool, the rest of the members of the Dragon Palace opened their eyes and looked at the net in the center with respect. Congratulations, Dragon King. They prostrated themselves in the Dragon Transformation Pool and shouted respectfully. Swoosh! Wang Xian opened his eyes and swayed his huge dragon body as he circled above the Dragon Transformation Pool. He looked around and lifted his head slowly. Roar! From his body, an extremely powerful energy was emitted. He couldn't help but let out a roar. The colorful radiance gradually shrouded him, and only a blurry figure could be seen. Like a mysterious dragon, its head but not its tail. Name: Wang Xian race. Yin Yang 5 Elements Dragon, one with the dragon, level 5 Immortal God King, 7th Transformation of Divine Dragon Transformation, Origin Source 1545444/50000000000 Superpower. Dominate the marine animals, rule any marine animals lower than your own level, devour living beings. Extract origin source from living beings. 5 elements control cultivation technique. Divine Dragon Transformation Superpower. Soul Assimilation, Spirit Attachment. Yin Yang 5 Elements Dragon. Eyes Laws. 5 Elements Grindstone. Dragon Country in the Palm. Dragon Head Descending. 10,000 Miles Dragon Body. Yin Yang 2 Poles. Yin Yang 5 Elements Bowl. Divine Dragon Tail Whip. Law of Substance. Metal, Wood, Water, Fire, Earth, Light and Darkness. 5th Transformation, God Kingdom. Dragon Palace. Own Dragon Palace. Level 7 Dragon Palace members. 411042. Wang Xian closed his eyes and revealed a smile as he looked at his attributes. 5th Order Immortal God King. 1st Order God Emperor Combat Power. Currently, Wang Xian was standing at the peak of this dazzling starry sky. Whoosh! He slowly opened his dragon eyes and looked down. Dragon King, I still need a few more hours. Tianjin smiled and said to Wang Xian. Wang Xian nodded his head slightly and flew into the Dragon King Hall. Prime Minister Turtle, Qing Yu. He transformed into his human form and shouted. Dragon King, the Dragon Queen is outside the Dragon Palace. She should be here soon. Prime Minister Turtle rushed over and reported to Wang Xian. All the upgrades should be completed today. How are your and Qing Yu's preparations? Wang Xian asked directly. Dragon King, we have decided on the time. We will attack tomorrow. Prime Minister Turtle replied immediately. Chapter 2788. Attack tomorrow? All right. Wang Xian's eyes shone as he nodded. Even if they couldn't wipe out the Imperial Court in the battle tomorrow, they would pay a heavy price. The price for hunting down Qingyue Lingxiu and wanting to wipe out Dragon Palace was starting to pay. Dragon King, 7 days ago, the Imperial Court made an announcement. At this moment, Prime Minister Turtle handed over a computer with downloaded information. Oh? Wang Xian looked over and raised his eyebrows. The Imperial Court Protector announced that they would wipe out Dragon Palace in a month at most. It has been 8 days now. Logically speaking, with some information from the Imperial Court, they should know that we are related to the giant abyss beasts. However, they still made such an announcement. They should have some confidence and trump card. Prime Minister Turtle said. Wang Xian's eyes shone as he looked at the announcement. With the Imperial Court's foundation in the Imperial Star Domain, all the information about Dragon Palace was already in the hands of the Imperial Court experts. They also knew the relationship between Dragon Palace and the giant abyss beasts. Now that Dragon Palace had come to the abyss and said that they would wipe them out, this was a little thought-provoking. How could they wipe out Dragon Palace? They could only rely on their strength. However, with the Imperial Court's strength, it was impossible for them to wipe out Dragon Palace. In fact, the Imperial Court was even weaker than them. With the Imperial Court's prestige, they couldn't possibly make empty promises. Otherwise, the entire Imperial Star Domain would laugh at them. The Imperial Court has been in the Imperial Star Domain for more than 600 million years. They might have a powerful trump card. Seems like we have to be careful in tomorrow's battle. Wang Xian revealed a solemn expression. Indeed, we have to be more careful. According to this humble subject's deduction, the Imperial Court might not only have 3 Void God Emperors. Prime Minister Turtle said. Xiao Xian. At this moment, Lan Qingyue flew over and shouted at Wang Xian. How is it, Qingyue? Are the 2 God Emperors from the dark magic system ready? Wang Xian looked at her and asked. Yes, we're ready to attack tomorrow. Lan Qingyue nodded. Tell Xiao Lan to be careful. I feel like the Imperial Court still has a powerful trump card. Wang Xian said. I saw the Imperial Court's announcement too. Lan Qingyue nodded her head. However, the attack this time had already begun more than 10 days ago. The 2 Void God Emperors of the Black Law System and the Deep Abyss Seed might have known that the Imperial Court was very strong. However, they did not care about the losses. It did not matter if those abyssal species died. If they brought the corpses over, it wouldn't take long for them to recover their vitality. If they won, the abyss would be able to expand, and they would be able to eat their fill. Since they couldn't care less, Lan Qingyue couldn't care less. Right now, the entire Imperial Court and the entire Imperial Star region want to destroy the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian smiled faintly as he looked at the comments below the message on the artificial intelligence system. After all, the Imperial Court has been in the Imperial Star region for hundreds of millions of years, and their territory is the largest. Their numbers are immeasurable, so they naturally want to destroy the Dragon Palace. Lan Qingyue said. Wang Xian nodded his head slightly and browsed through some information on the artificial intelligence system. Boom. 2 hours later, a terrifying aura swept over. Wang Xian looked over and revealed a smile. Heavenly Formation, the former God Emperor. Lan Qingyue also looked over. She already had a good understanding of the sky formation. Swoosh. Dragon King, Dragon Queen. In the next moment, a strange and terrifying sky formation flew over and bowed to Wang Xian and Lan Qingyue with a smile. How is it? Wang Xian looked at the radiance circulating around his body and asked with a smile. Dragon King, with my current strength, I can easily deal with 2 or 3 people of the same level. The 9 heads of the sky formation were lifted and were filled with confidence. 2 or 3. Can you kill them? Wang Xian raised his eyebrows and asked after hearing it. It might be a little difficult to kill them, but I can restrain them. As the sky formation spoke, his body trembled slightly. Wang, Under the watchful eyes of Wang Xian and the rest, the body of the sky formation split into three. All three of them looked extremely strange. Two heads of the wind and thunder attributes formed a body. Heads of the five elements formed a body. Heads of the light and darkness attributes formed a body. Dragon King, I've been inspired by you. The five elements, yin, yang, darkness, and wind and thunder is one. Three bodies. Although our elemental senses are very weak, with such a combination, each of my bodies can fight against a first-order God Emperor. The sky formation said with slight pride. Oh? Wang Xian raised his eyebrows. After recovering his strength, the sky formation could fight against opponents 3 levels higher. With his current strength, he could even kill opponents 3 levels higher. Very strong. In that case, with the addition of Shao Xian, our Dragon Palace has 4 Void God Emperors. Lan Xingyue's eyes lit up as she spoke. For Void God Emperors, this was a huge force. How many God Emperors were there in the entire Imperial Court? 4. With the addition of Shaolan and the 2 Black Laws, we have 8 Void God Emperors. I would like to see how many tricks the Imperial Court has up their sleeves. Wang Xian's eyes shone brightly. If the Imperial Court can't defend against our attack tomorrow, we will attack the vast palace in the center of the Imperial Court and chase them out of the Imperial Star Domain. Lan Xingyue's eyes shone as she clenched her fists. All right. Wang Xian nodded his head heavily. He did not want to stay in this endless abyss. Dragon King. All the disciples have completed their advancement. At this moment, Prime Minister Turtle sent a message. Currently, our Dragon Palace has 16 Immortal King Realm experts, 129 Ninth Order God King Realm experts, and about 360,000 God King Realm experts. Prime Minister Turtle continued to report. In tomorrow's battle, we will launch a surprise attack. After the war starts, we will strike after the Imperial Court shows their strength. Wang Xian looked at Lan Xingyue and said, All right, we will catch them off guard. Even if the Imperial Court investigated the strength of the Dragon Palace, they would not expect the Dragon Palace to be comparable to 4 Void God Emperors. Lan Xingyue said with a smile, The time for revenge is here. She murmured softly. Wang Xian lifted his head as his eyes shone brightly. In his line of sight, in front of the Abyss Sea, there was a dense and endless army of abyssal creatures already lying on the ground. More than 20 billion Abyss Demons and 18 Immortal King Realm Abyss Demons. These were Lan Xingyue's subordinates. Not far away, the number of abyssal species gathered there was even greater. Hundreds of billions of them. Looking at them from afar, one would tremble in fear. Chapter 2789. Wong Wong Wong. Alert. At that very moment, there was a voice at the front line between Pingy Island and Imperial Dynasty. In the middle, there was a huge warship that gave off a red light that spread to both sides. The alarm sounded and everyone at the front line was shocked. They immediately raised their guard. According to our scouts, a large number of abyss species have gathered in the abyss. Get all disciples to be prepared. In the palace of the command center at the back of the center, many Imperial Dynasty protectors sat there. They looked at an image on the screen with a solemn expression. Those damn beasts. We will let them know how powerful we are in this battle. Humph. One of the protectors couldn't hold back his anger and scoffed coldly. Yes, let's give those beasts a huge blow. And Imperial Court Protector added, Let's focus on defense. The real battle will be fought by us. Just then, 5 to 6 old men walked in from the entrance. The leading old man smiled and said, Chief Protector. When the other Imperial Court Protectors saw the old man in the lead, they immediately stood up and shouted, Great Ancestor, and the rest have given the order. All battles will focus on defense. Chief Protector gestured for them to sit down and said calmly, Chief Protector, are we going to attack after the Witchcraft Association arrives? A Protector asked. That's right. With our current strength, we won't have the upper hand against the Abyss species and Dragon Palace. However, it's different when the experts from the Witchcraft Association arrive. We have already contacted the Witchcraft Association and they place great importance on this. I reckon we will be able to contact the Emperor God experts from the Witchcraft Association in a few days. Hee hee, You don't have to worry about this. Once they attack, just focus on defense. Let the abyss species and dragon palace be arrogant for a while. Soon, they will be dead. Chief Protector said calmly, and his eyes were filled with coldness. Ha ha ha, let's let them be arrogant for a while more. If we just focus on defending, we won't suffer much loss. A protector laughed heartily and said in a carefree manner, Hee hee, activate the defense system. It's okay to consume some resources. We will get back 10 times the amount. Chief Protector nodded. If we only block them, we can hold them off for 10 days to half a month. In 10 days to half a month, when the experts of the Witchcraft Association arrive, it will be time for us to slaughter them, the group of protectors at the side said with a smile. The nervous expressions on their faces had completely disappeared. In the past, the way they saw it, many protectors would definitely fall in this battle. But because of the appearance of the Dragon Palace, because of the appearance of that Sky Array God Emperor, it was possible that their losses would be reduced to the minimum. After all, the Completion Witch Association was so powerful. If they joined forces, it would be a piece of cake for them to fight against the Abyss species. Now, should we thank the Dragon Palace? What about Dragon King? And Imperial Court Protector couldn't help but chuckle. The people around them heard it and smiled faintly. All right, everyone, don't let your guard down. Once the Abyss Race Army attacks, we still have to defend. The 4 great ancestors are also going to fight against the God Emperor level Abyss species. After all, they might have one more God Emperor level combat power than us. The Chief Guardian stood up and reminded everyone, Don't worry, Chief Guardian. We can defend against a God Emperor level God Emperor that was forcefully raised by an array. The rest of the protectors stood up and guaranteed with a relaxed expression. With the foundation of the Imperial Court, even if the 4 great ancestors didn't make a move, they had treasures to defend against a First Order God Emperor. In fact, they wouldn't be afraid even if there was another one. If they only focused on defense, they wouldn't be under much pressure. Everyone, get ready. Get to your positions. Chief Guardian said indifferently, turned around, and left. The Chief Guardian didn't care about the Abyss race, giant beasts, and even the Dragon Palace joining in the attack. If they only focused on defense, it would be easy for them. The situation at the front lines of the Pingy battlefield is tense. The first war might break out in a few days. The first clash between the Imperial Court and the entire Abyss is about to begin. Very soon, the news about the front lines spread through the intelligence system. The first war is about to break out in Pingy. No wonder the Imperial Court didn't destroy the Dragon Palace immediately. It turns out that a war is about to break out in Pingy. The entire Imperial Court has gathered all the forces in the Pingy Abyss. Hence, the Imperial Court doesn't have time to destroy the Dragon Palace. But once the situation here stabilizes, it will be the end of the Dragon Palace. The Imperial Court announced that they will destroy the Dragon Palace within a month. It seems like the Imperial Court is confident in stabilizing the battlefield here. Of course, our Imperial Court has been in the Imperial Starfield for more than 600 million years. How can the Abyss threaten us? Pacify the Abyss. Destroy the Dragon Palace. Restore peace. Pacify the Abyss. Destroy the Dragon Palace. Restore peace. On the intelligence system, when everyone in the Imperial Starfield learned about the situation at the Pingy battlefield, countless people replied in an instant. In the end, the words, pacify the Abyss, destroy the Dragon Palace, restore peace, flooded the screen. Moreover, everyone in the Imperial Court believed that the Imperial Court would soon achieve their goal. Pacify the Abyss, destroy the Dragon Palace, and restore peace. All the enemies would be annihilated. Tomorrow, we will directly teleport to the center of the battlefield. I guess the Imperial Court will also expect our Dragon Palace to appear on the battlefield. They might have made sufficient preparations. Moreover, the Imperial Court's detection methods might have detected roving demon and the rest. It's all right. The Imperial Court doesn't know the exact strength of the Dragon Palace. In the Dragon Palace located in the Abyss Sea, Wang Xian, Lan Qingyue, Prime Minister Turtle, and the rest were discussing about the battle tomorrow. This was the largest battle since the establishment of the Dragon Palace. The number of creatures and humans involved in the battle reached hundreds of billions. Although it wasn't as large as the scenes that appeared during the inheritance, it was still large enough. Sometimes there was no right or wrong in war. It was just that the winner took all. We won't lose this battle. Wang Xian revealed a faint smile and said firmly at the end, "Yes, Xiao Xian, we won't lose. After this battle, the Dragon Palace will get another upgrade. By then, our strength will be even more stable." Lan Qingyuan nodded her head solemnly as her eyes were filled with determination. Woo 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 woo. A day passed by quickly. On the second day, a few majestic roars rang out. The war had begun. Chapter 2790. Woo woo woo. The roars reverberated throughout the abyss as the suppressive aura surged forward. Ga. Soon, countless roars reverberated in unison. It sounded like the roars of demons from the depths of the abyss, as though demons were breaking free from their cages. The roars were filled with madness and violence. All disciples of Dragon Palace, get ready. Within Dragon Palace, 360,000 God King members stood in front of the dragon field with weapons in their hands. They were filled with murderous intent. Yes, when the order was given, the group of Dragon Palace leaders led them out. Wang Xian was the leader, with Tianjun standing one step behind him. After flying out of the Abyss Ocean, Wang Xian and the rest looked ahead. What they saw was a dense and endless horde of abyss species. Terrifying murderous aura surged around them. If a weak God King were to look at them directly, he would probably suffocate to death. This was not an army of thousands, but hundreds of billions of abyss species. Above them, there were 4 humongous existences with even more terrifying aura floating in the air. Xiaolan was over 100 kilometers in size. Xiaozhai was 70 to 80 kilometers in size. On the right, there were 2 equally terrifying existences. One of them had huge wings and was shrouded in flames. An abyss god emperor species surrounded by black flames stood up like a special bug. It was eerie and terrifying. It looked even scarier than the abyss god emperor species that was covered in flames. We are at the back. Wang Xian let out a soft cry and flew forward immediately. The group from Dragon Palace flew towards the back of the abyss species. Dragon Palace was not in charge of the main force for this battle. In the sky, the abyss species shrouded in black flames looked back and let out a deep roar. It then looked at Lan Qingyue before turning to look ahead. Clearly, it knew about the existence of Dragon Palace. Woo woo woo. Lan Qingyue stood on Xiaolan's back and patted its body gently. Xiaolan let out a roar that was filled with dominance. In front of them, over 20 billion abyss species roared and charged forward. The ones leading them were 18 pinnacle immortal king abyss species. At the side, the 2 emperor god-level abyss species let out a roar as well. G. All sorts of replies came, and a terrifying murderous aura soared into the sky. The black magic awakened abyssal species also flew forward. Leading them were 47 peak god king realm abyssal species. The strength of the Black Rules clan was a few times stronger than Lan Qingyue. The main reason was that Little Blue's advancement had devoured many abyssal species. They were only left with more than 20 billion underlings. The army of the abyss species flew forward majestically. Ding ding ding. At the same time, ear-piercing alarms sounded at the border between the Imperial Court and Pingy Island. It was completely different from yesterday's warning. All Imperial Dynasty disciples prepare to fight. In this battle, focus on defense. Remember, focus on defense. In this battle, focus on defense. If we let these bastards be a bit more arrogant, it won't be long before we wipe them all out. A voice rang out, and everyone in the battle line heard it clearly. Erect defensive weapons, formations, and war machines. At the next moment, another authoritative voice was heard. Are those bastards coming? Take up your weapons. It's a pity that we should focus on defense this time. I still want to kill to my heart's content. Ha ha ha, fight. The entire front line immediately got into action. Those blazing stars flew towards the abyss gradually. Huge war machines with powerful auras entered the chasm battlefield one after another. Activate the biological war wall. Boom boom boom. At this moment, The God King experts lined up and flew forward with a dazzling ball in their hands. They tossed it out, and a loud boom was heard. A very special creature quickly flew out of the sphere. It was densely packed and extremely terrifying. These creatures gathered together rapidly, forming a wall that was billions of kilometers long, tens of thousands of kilometers tall, and thousands of kilometers thick. This was the biological war wall. The Abyss War had to break out within the Abyss. This was because the Abyss species could expand the Abyss with their energy. The appearance of the biological war wall could create a battlefield for the Imperial Court to advance and retreat at will. A defensive front line was built at a terrifying speed. Bzzz. Humph, I didn't expect those bastards to attack so quickly. At this moment, the command palace at the back also slowly entered the Abyss. A dozen protectors stood there. The chief protector stood in front of a screen, watching the blurry scene on the screen with murderous intent. A total of 65 peak Immortal King Abyss species. Our Imperial Court isn't any lesser than those bastards. A protector looked at the row of peak Immortal King Abyss species in front and said coldly, "Look at the back. Those are the people from Dragon Palace. That damn Dragon Palace. They're really participating in this war. It's Dragon Palace. Humph, they're in cahoots with those bastards. In the future, I'll hang the head of that Dragon King in the Imperial Court's punishment hall." In the command palace, a dozen protectors looked at the figures of Dragon Palace on the screen with cold eyes. "Send this to the AI, and let the people of the Imperial Star region see it. Haha, although it's not the world of the people's hearts are still very useful." The chief protector looked ahead with a cold look in his eyes. "Yes, chief protector." One of the Imperial Dynasty protectors nodded his head solemnly. He immediately opened the AI and recorded the scenes. Then, he released the video in the name of the protector of the Imperial Court. Dragon Palace is no different from the Abyss species. Soon, our Imperial Court will seal the head of the Dragon King and let the people of the Imperial Star region despise it. A video and a sentence were immediately sent out. It feels like I'm being watched. At this moment, Wang Xian, who was following the army of Abyss species, looked in one direction. His yin-yang 5 elements dragon eyes flashed. Bam! Under his gaze, a spark flashed in the void. There's indeed a lot of surveillance. Yamada no Orochi's monstrous and terrifying body was looking around with its eyes. Sparks also flashed in the void. Hee, the winner takes all, and the loser takes all. The time has arrived. Wang Xian didn't care much about the surveillance. His eyes flashed coldly. His gaze was fixed in front of him. Chapter 2791. The war on Pingy Island is about to begin. Hiss, that's the Dragon Palace. They're from the Dragon Palace. There are so many abyssal species. How terrifying. Even the blurry video makes me feel suffocated. In the Dragon Palace at the back, there's simply abyssal species in human form. They're beasts. They're working with the abyssal species. Destroy the Dragon Palace. Destroy them. The Dragon Palace has joined the war on Pingy Island. They're on the same side as the abyssal species. Support the Dragon Palace and destroy them as soon as possible. When the Imperial Court Protector's message was sent out, it immediately caused a great sensation. Many humans in the Imperial Star region had always been skeptical about the Dragon Palace and the abyssal species working together. After all, there was no evidence. In the past, the Dragon Palace had hunted a large number of abyssal species. But now, the Dragon Palace had entered the Abyss battlefield with the abyssal species. This naturally filled everyone with righteous indignation. Because of the existence of the Abyss, the Imperial Star region had suffered heavy losses. Now that the Dragon Palace and the abyssal species were on the same side, their anger was naturally directed at the Dragon Palace. The entire artificial intelligence system and the entire Imperial Star region cursed the Dragon Palace. Everyone supported the destruction of the Dragon Palace and the Dragon King. They wanted to hang the Dragon King's head high so that everyone in the Imperial Star region would despise them. In the Imperial Star region, all humans were paying attention to this war. Boom, boom, boom. At the same time, Wang Xian, who was in the Abyss, didn't know what was happening on the Imperial Court. All the members of the Dragon Palace followed behind the abyssal species and advanced quickly. The edge of the abyss and the front line of the battlefield were getting closer and closer. We're almost there. An hour later, the scene at the front line appeared in his sight. Wang Xian stared ahead and squinted slightly. As expected of the imperial court, the battle line has already been set. He murmured. That terrifying war machine, that powerful might, made one's heart tremble. Among these war machines, there are no less than 10 that have the power of Dragon Peak. Tianjin stood at the side and scanned the front. He smiled faintly. Fortunately, the Imperial Star region isn't good at arrays. Array masters were best at defensive battles, especially those that had been prepared in advance. They could defend against enemies that were 2, 3, or even 4 or 5 times their level. There are so many god kings in the Imperial Court. Wang Xian sighed. Based on his senses, there were at least 2 million divine king experts in the Imperial Court. This was their foundation, the foundation of the Imperial dynasty for more than 600 million years. Of course, the number of god-king powerhouses on the side of the Abyss species was not much less than theirs. Compared to the foundation of the Imperial Court, the Abyss race was born from slaughter, and the number of experts they had was also terrifying. The Dragon Palace and the Abyss species are here. At the same time, in the command hall, a group of Imperial Court's protectors stood on the stage and stared at the army of Abyss creatures that gradually appeared in the depths of the Abyss. Their eyes were filled with killing intent. All Imperial Dynasty disciples prepare to fight. At this moment, a loud voice resounded. The protectors in the command room trembled slightly and looked respectfully in a certain direction. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Above the group of Imperial Court disciples, 4 majestic figures floated in the air. The 2 in the middle emitted a pure and resplendent white light. Within the white light, a figure stood quietly. On the left was a ball of fiery red flames that looked extremely gentle. One could clearly see that the figure in the middle was wearing a fiery red long robe. The long robe fluttered behind him even though there was no wind. On the right was a tornado that spanned over 100 kilometers. It wasn't violent, but no one dared to belittle its might. The 4 figures hovered there like the main characters of the world. This was the true power of the gods, high and mighty. A single word from them could determine the life and death of billions of people. Woo woo woo. When they saw the 4 figures appearing in front of them, Xiaolon, and the 2 god emperors of the Abyss species of the Black Rule system let out a roar in unison. A savage and bloodthirsty murderous aura surged forward. All the Imperial Court disciples at the front of the battle line shuddered as they clenched their fists. The 2 from the Black Rule system and the female lead from the Giant Beast system. Are you guys really going against the Imperial Court? Both parties were getting closer to each other. In the middle, a figure shrouded in light stared ahead and asked coldly, "Roar, roar, roar, kill." The God Emperor of the Black Rule system that looked like a bug swept his blood-red eyes across them and spat out the word kill. The God Emperor of the Abyss species of the God Emperor class could already speak the human language. However, it depended on whether they were willing to communicate with humans. The reason why Lan Qingyue was able to communicate with them was because Xiao Lan and Xiao Zhai were stronger than them. Secondly, the attack on the Imperial Court was suggested by the 2 God Emperors of the Black Rule system. The moment it said that, the eyes of the 4 majestic figures shone with murderous intent as they exuded an imposing aura. Hee, Imperial Court, you guys chased us for years and tried to kill us several times. Now, you are saying that you are going against the Imperial Court. Lan Qingyue stood on Xiao Lan's body and stared at the 4 figures with disdain. She said coldly, "Huh, there's a human on that beast? Chased them for years? What's going on? SSS, there's a woman on the beast. Is she the owner of the beast? There's a human controlling it?" When Lan Qingyue's voice was heard, there were at least 500 billion Imperial Court disciples on the battlefield that spanned 10 billion kilometers. When they heard Lan Qingyue's voice, they were shocked. The owner of the beast was Lan Qingyue. She was a human. Only the God Emperors and Guardians of the Imperial Court and a few others knew about this. The rest didn't know the exact situation. Is the Dragon Palace courting death too? The faces of the 4 God Emperors darkened. They didn't reply to Lan Xingyue as they hovered in the air and looked down at the dragon palace behind them. Hee. A few years ago, the imperial court chased after our dragon queen and almost died many times. If it wasn't for the fact that our dragon queen had her own trump card and wasn't killed by you guys, she would have been dead by now. Now, you 4 dogs dare to question the dragon palace? Hee, of course, we are going to fuck your ancestors. 4 dogs of the imperial court. Back then, the disciples of the imperial court chased us for more than 4 years. I didn't die for more than 4 years. Now that I have the strength, I will fuck all of you. For old dogs, wash your necks and prepare to die. Hee. Wang Xian didn't respond to the words of the god emperors. Instead, Baki Devil Fiend and 2 Shuns, who were standing at the side, shouted. He kept calling him an old dog. Chapter 2792. You bastards who associate with animals, shut your mouths for the imperial court. It won't be long before we cut all of you into pieces. How dare you insult our god emperor? All of you will die. Small Dragon Palace, you will pay a heavy price for what you have done. We will pull out your tongues. In the sky above the chasm battlefield, terrifying killing intent shot out of the eyes of the 4 god emperors when they heard what Yamada Demon Fiend and the others said. At the same time, the surrounding space was affected too. The Imperial Dynasty protectors and everyone from the Imperial Dynasty were furious when they heard them insult their great ancestor and their god emperor. The Imperial Dynasty protectors roared with murderous intent. Kakik, a bunch of sanctimonious things. Did you not think that this day would come when you were chasing after our dragon queen? Let me tell you, the puppies of the 4 old dogs, you will die today because of the 4 of you. After you die, you will reason with the 4 of you. Soon, we will cut you into pieces. Kiki, later, I will send you to hell and kill you all. The moment the Imperial Dynasty protectors finished cursing, Yamada Demon Fiend and Yamada Demon Fiend roared at the top of their lungs. Yamada Demon Fiend and Yamada Demon Fiend were experts in shamelessness. You are courting death. Everyone from the Imperial Dynasty was furious when they heard what Yamada Demon Fiend said. No one dared to call the Imperial Dynasty people dogs. Although they had many questions in their hearts, they wanted Dragon Palace to be destroyed just because someone from Dragon Palace scolded them. Before the rest of the Imperial Court's disciples could curse, the Imperial Court God Emperor, who was shrouded in flames, shouted coldly. His voice covered everyone's ears. Everyone from the Imperial Dynasty knew that their great ancestor was furious. I will find the graves of your ancestors. However, the Imperial Dynasty people were furious. Yamada Demon Fiend didn't care about the Imperial Dynasty God Emperor. They were enemies to begin with, and they didn't care about strength. They just had to shout at the top of their lungs. Roar, roar. Yamada Demon Fiend and Yamada Demon Fiend's words caused the 2 god emperors above the chasm to turn their heads, and confusion flashed in their eyes. Was this how the war between humans started? Ka. The Imperial Dynasty God Emperor, who was shrouded in flames, stared coldly at Yamada Demon Fiend and Yamada Demon Fiend. Are you fucking looking at your dad? The 2 of them raised their heads fearlessly and responded once again. Even some members of the Dragon Palace looked at him speechlessly. Roar. Today, let me experience the strength of you bastards. The Emperor God, who was shrouded in flames, was infuriated. With a roar, he moved and flew forward. Boundless might and terrifying energy wreaked havoc in the sky above the abyss. The Abyss God Emperor species that was also engulfed in flames raised its head and roared angrily. It flapped its huge wings and flew forward. All Imperial Dynasty disciples, defend. An Imperial Court God Emperor shrouded in light said. Having said that, he moved and dashed out. Woo-woo. Xiao Otaku's huge eyes locked onto him as he met him head-on. Woo-woo. In the next moment, Little Blue and the other Emperor God Abyss species charged towards the other 2 Emperor Gods without hesitation. Little Blue locked onto the other figure shrouded in light and charged over with boundless barbaric power. Lan Xingyue, who was on Little Blue's back, flew towards Wang Xian. Ji. When Little Blue and the rest charged over, all the abyss god abyss species were riled up. They instantly went berserk and stared at the imperial court disciples with their blood-red eyes. Boom. In an instant, the entire space seemed to have undergone a drastic change as the atmosphere turned heavy. The overwhelming number of abyss god abyss species charged over. In front of them, all the people from the imperial court who were standing on the city wall released their full might. All imperial court disciples, this battle is mainly for defense. Disciples at the back carry out long-range attacks. In the next battle, we will annihilate all of them. On the platform of the imperial court's central command hall, the guardian stood there with a scepter of light in his hand. With a wave of his arm, a humongous radiant disk appeared in front of him, covering an area of over 100 million kilometers. Boom, boom, boom. In the next moment, all sorts of defensive weapons were activated. At a glance, it looked like an indestructible city wall. Kill. The other Imperial Court disciples roared and launched long-range attacks at the Abyss God Abyss species that were charging over. GGG. In front of the Abyss God Abyss species, the Pinnacle God King existences lifted their heads and launched attacks. In an instant, boundless destructive force blasted forward. Guardians of the Imperial Court blocked the attacks of the Pinnacle God King Abyss species. Seeing the attacks of the Pinnacle God King Abyss species, the Guardian of the Imperial Court ordered immediately, "Buzz, buzz! Rumble, rumble, rumble!" In the next moment, all the Guardians of the Imperial Court bombarded the attacks of the Pinnacle God King Abyss species. The sound of collision rang out, and the mighty energy swept across the abyss. Bam, bam, bam. However, at this moment, violent attacks were heard from the sky. Fiery red radiance, white radiance, and black radiance shone in this space. Those were the colors of the laws. In the sky, the 4 Imperial Court Emperor gods clashed with Little Blue and the rest. In a 4-on-4 situation where they were all on the same level, it was almost impossible to determine the victor. Even if there was a difference in strength, it would take 1 to 2 days or even longer to kill the other party. This was under the condition that the other party didn't escape. Below, after the first round of attacks from the Pinnacle God King Abyss species were blocked, the second round of attacks was launched. This time, at least 1 million Pinnacle God King Abyss species launched long-range attacks at the same time. Terrifying, shocking, and incomparable scenes crossed the abyss. Block. On the Imperial Court side, the Guardian's order rang out once again. Similarly, all the Pinnacle God Kings charged forward. Boom. After another clash, the attacks of the Pinnacle God King Abyss species were completely destroyed. After 2 rounds of attacks, the distance between the two parties shortened. Guardians, be wary of the Dragon Palace. They can erupt with the power of a First-Order God Emperor. The Guardian transmitted his voice to the other Guardians. Haha, Guardian, rest assured. With our defense, we can withstand the attacks of at least 2 God Emperors without the need for Lord God Emperor to make a move. One of the Guardians laughed heartily as he replied, God Emperors weren't cabbages. It was rare to have one more. Even if there were 2 God Emperors from the Dragon Palace, they wouldn't be afraid. Even if there were 3 of them, they wouldn't be defeated instantly. After all, their foundation was there. Invincible Divine Dragon Cultivation System Latest Chapter Link. Invincible Divine Dragon Cultivation System Full Text Reading Link. /21127 /Invincible Divine Dragon Cultivation System TXT Download Link. /21127 /Invincible Divine Dragon Cultivation System Mobile Reading Link. /21127 for convenience of reading next time. You can click on the Collections button on the right to record this time. A great battle ensued, silencing the entire world. 6. Read the record. If you like the Invincible Divine Dragon Cultivation System, please recommend Green Bean to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 2793. Boom, 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 boom. In the Abyss battlefield, terrifying collisions were heard continuously. Countless Abyss species launched their attacks towards the Imperial Court. However, the Imperial Court relied on their strong foundation to form an impenetrable wall. Apart from the deaths of many Abyss species, no one from the Imperial Court died. All the attacks were blocked by the Imperial Court's defense. Huh. Dragon King. The Imperial Court is not attacking but defending. When the Dragon Palace members saw that they were only defending and attacking from afar, they were slightly shocked. Prime Minister Turtle frowned and said with flickering eyes, "It's a little strange." Wang Xian also raised his eyebrows. The invasion of the Abyss species wasn't something that could be solved by just defending. In the Battle of the Abyss, one had to kill the Abyss species without restraint so that they wouldn't pose a threat. If one only defended, the Abyss species would never be heavily injured. In that case, one wouldn't be able to resolve the threat of the Abyss. This kind of meaningless defense was completely useless. The Imperial Court announced on the AI that they will annihilate our Dragon Palace within a month. It has been about half a month now. Perhaps the Imperial Court has some secret weapon that they need to wait for. Or perhaps they have invited a stronger existence. Prime Minister Turtle stood there with a contemplative look on his face. The Imperial dynasty was acting so strangely and being so confident, which made them really confused. Wang Xian nodded his head slightly. The Imperial Court's decision to only defend and not launch an all-out attack was indeed out of their expectations. However, no matter what the Imperial Court is planning, we will make them suffer a great loss in this battle. All members of the Dragon Palace, attack from afar. Wang Xian's eyes were cold as he ordered the members of the Dragon Palace. Yes, Dragon King. The leaders of the Dragon Palace nodded. Close. Prime Minister Turtle waved his arm, and the Dragon Palace army flew towards the front. They are in the attacking range. Heaven's Eye Arrow Unit, shoot. The group of arrow dragons held their bows and arrows. Mao Zedong stared ahead and immediately roared loudly. Shoot. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. In the next moment, countless arrows flew towards the front. All members of the Dragon Palace, attack from afar. Prime Minister Turtle ordered immediately. Boom, boom, boom. The rest of the Dragon Palace members immediately released their attacks. Even the Berserk dragons, which were not adept at long-range combat, condensed a blood-red spear in their hands and hurled it forward. The only ones that didn't make a move were the spike dragons that were hiding in the void. The Dragon Palace has made their move. Prepare to defend. The moment all the members of the Dragon Palace made their move, the 5 guardians of the Imperial Court were already prepared. Boom, boom, boom. Their bodies moved, and their palms blasted toward a burning star in the sky. The flaming star rotated, revealing an incomparably large black hole in the center. The entire cave entrance was releasing a terrifyingly high temperature. Control the flaming god star. A protector of the Imperial Court hollered and flew towards the flame god star. The 3 Imperial Court protectors followed closely behind him. Soon after, tens of millions of Imperial Dynasty disciples flew towards the flame god planet. Every single one of them was emitting a blazing radiance. The group of 10 million people landed on the flame god planet. The black hole in the center of the planet emitted rays of red light. Boom, boom, boom. In the next moment, streaks of meteorite-like flames met the attack released by the Dragon Palace. The terrifying meteors completely covered the arrows of the Heaven's Eye Arrow Division. Bam, bam, bam. Intense collisions sounded, and all the attacks of the Dragon Palace were blocked. Dragon King, the power of the Flame God Star can unleash the power of an Emperor God under the enhancement of over 10 million Imperial Court disciples. It seems like the Imperial Court is well prepared. Tianjin squinted his eyes as he looked at the Flame God Star before him. Hee. All the members of the Dragon Palace, attack with all your might. I would like to see how they're going to block the attacks of our Dragon Palace with this Flame God Star. Wang Xian revealed a faint smile. He and Tianjin didn't make a move. At this moment, he wanted to see how strong the Imperial Court was. Yes, Dragon King. All the disciples of the Dragon Palace, aim at the Flame God Star and attack. Prime Minister Turtle nodded his head immediately and gave his orders to all the members. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Rumble, rumble, rumble. In an instant, 360,000 God King experts from the Dragon Palace unleashed their strongest attacks and struck towards the Flame God Star. The terrifying aura caused some of the surrounding abyssal species to raise their eyebrows. Unleash the power of the Flame God Star with all your might. On the Flame God Star, the guardians of the Imperial Court were shocked when they saw the all-out attack from the Dragon Palace. Wong. The entire Flame God Star trembled slightly as a majestic power of flame coalesced in the black hole. A fire pillar with a diameter of over 10 million kilometers flew out from the Flame God Star and clashed with the attack from the Dragon Palace. Bam, bam, bam. Boundless flames collided with the attack from the 300,000 God Kings from the Dragon Palace. The massive fire pillar collapsed slowly. Shit. The strength of the Dragon Palace is much stronger than we imagined. They have 15 to 16 peak God King experts. When the attack of the Flame God Star collapsed slowly, the few guardians of the Imperial Court on the Flame God Star were shocked. This Flame God Star was obtained by their Emperor God through great opportunities. With the enhancement of their fire attribute experts and disciples, it could unleash the power of an Emperor God. But now, they couldn't withstand the all-out attack from all the members of the Dragon Palace. This made their expressions change slightly. One should know that based on their calculations, the Flame God Star was enough to go against the entire Dragon Palace. TSK, do they really think they can go against the entire Dragon Palace with just one treasure and 10 million people? Wang Xian stared ahead with a mocking look in his eyes. Attack. At this time, Prime Minister Turtle gave the order again. Swish, swish, swish. Boom, boom, boom. The third round of attack from the Dragon Palace was launched towards the Flame God Star again. Grand Guardian, request for backup. A Flame God Star isn't a match for the Dragon Palace. When the Guardians on the Flame God Star saw the attack coming again, they immediately requested for backup from the Grand Guardian of the Imperial Court. Activate the Heaven Shrouding Fan. The Grand Guardian looked over, frowned slightly, and shouted immediately, "Leave it to me." In the command hall, a protector with a folding fan in his hand moved and directly flew over to the side. Swoosh! With a wave of his arm, the folding fan in his hand expanded immediately and covered the entire void. Chapter 2794. The Heaven Shrouding Fan was another divine weapon of the Imperial Court. A First-Order God Emperor divine weapon was obtained by a protector of the Imperial Court through a great opportunity. This Heaven Shrouding Fan was extremely powerful and could temporarily unleash the power of a First-Order God Emperor. Voila! A crisp sound was heard and the entire Heaven Shrouding Fan expanded to a radius of over 100 million kilometers. The terrifying Heaven Shrouding Fan towards the Dragon Palace. Tornadoes were formed in front of him, forming a tornado domain. Huh. Everyone in the Dragon Palace looked over with a surprised look on their faces. The Imperial Court is indeed powerful. Their foundation is terrifying. Wang Xian murmured. He couldn't help but be impressed by the strength of the Imperial Court. If all the members of the Dragon Palace worked together, they could indeed suppress the attack of a First-Order God Emperor. But the Imperial Court could still hold them back when they had to deal with countless abyss species. Sweeping his gaze across the battlefield, the Imperial Court could fight against one or two God Emperors even without relying on their God Emperor experts. Each and every one of those incomparably powerful divine artifacts and magic treasures were truly astonishing. A force of this level would naturally have countless treasures. After all, they have more than half of the resources in the Imperial Star Domain. Tianjin said from the side, Dragon King, a flaming divine star and a Heaven Shrouding Fan are enough to defend against the attacks of our Dragon Palace. Prime Minister Turtle frowned and said to Wang Xian when he saw the Heaven Shrouding Fan joining the battle. The Imperial Court could already defend against the entire Dragon Palace with such a small amount of strength. There was still a huge gap between the Dragon Palace and the Imperial Court. It's fine. Let's wait a little longer if the stalemate continues. Tianjin at the side said. They could wait a little longer. Wait for the countless abyss species to deplete the energy of the Imperial Court and wait for the best opportunity to arrive. If they were to attack now, even Tianjin couldn't guarantee that he could defeat the Imperial Court. But if they waited for a day or two, it would be much easier. The Imperial Court defended while the abyss species attacked violently. Based on this situation, the battle could last for a few days. If the stalemate continued for a few days, the abyss species might retreat, regroup, and launch their next attack. However, Wang Xian and Tianjin knew that the imperial court might have a powerful trump card. They couldn't take out their trump card now. If they didn't crush the imperial dynasty this time, they might be in danger in the future. Humph, a small dragon palace. If it weren't for these abyss species, we would have wiped you out right now. When the guardians of the imperial court saw that the dragon palace's attack had been blocked, they smiled and mocked loudly. How can there be so many ifs? If you suddenly die, we don't even have to do anything. You'll all be dead. Yaki Demon Fiend and the others shouted coldly when they heard the ridicule from the imperial court protectors on the flame god star. Ha ha ha, a bunch of trash from Dragon Palace. You only know how to boast, but you won't be able to do so for long. Soon, our imperial court will kill all of you and cut off your tongues. We won't kill you right away. We will imprison you in the Purgatory Star and let you suffer for millions of years. A protector of the imperial court said with a cold laugh. TSK, TSK, TSK. I'm afraid you don't have the ability. If you have the guts, cut off my tongue now. A bunch of imperial court dogs. Emo Sha shouted at them. Humph. We don't have to talk too much with these people who are about to die. Even if your dragon palace colludes with these beasts, you won't be able to break the defense of our imperial court. Another imperial court protector said coldly. Chief Protector, the situation has been stabilized. The dragon palace was in a complete stalemate as their attacks were blocked. In other places, the imperial court was also blocking the attacks of the abyss species. It had been 5 minutes since the start of the battle, and less than 100 people had died. Foundation and strength. And imperial court protector stood on the podium and said to the chief protector with a smile. Hee hee, a bunch of beasts wants to fight with the imperial court? You're still far from it. The great protector said with a cold expression. The situation had been stabilized, but the imperial court still had trump cards that they hadn't used yet. Even if the abyss species and the dragon palace still had trump cards, they could still withstand the attacks. The war has broken out. What terrifying power. Haha, I'm afraid the entire Imperial Star region can't believe that someone would dare to come to the battlefield at this time. Don't get cocky. Be careful. If there's any danger, we'll escape back to the God Nation. It's okay. I just want to watch the war with my own eyes and cheer for the Imperial Court. I'll post the situation here to the artificial intelligence system. We'll be rich then. Lords of the Imperial Court, do your best. Kill the beasts of the abyss and the beasts of the dragon palace. Lords of the imperial court, do your best. Kill the beasts of the abyss and the beasts of the dragon palace. At this moment, a few hundred people appeared at the entrance of the abyss behind the chasm battlefield. Their gazes were fixed in front of them. Some were shocked, some were in disbelief, and some were roaring hot-blooded. They roared in unison. What are you guys doing? The sudden appearance of a few hundred people immediately attracted the attention of the imperial court. A few divine kings flew over and asked coldly, Lord, we're disciples of the imperial court. We want to cheer for the imperial court to destroy the abyss species and the dragon palace. The group of people replied respectfully when they saw the experts of the imperial court flying over. Chasm battlefield. Leave immediately. One of the divine kings reminded them coldly. They can watch. Let them enter the imprisonment platform. At this moment, a dignified voice came from the front. Inside the command hall, a pair of sharp eyes looked over. Their imperial court had suffered significant losses in the Battle of the Abyss. Letting some people watch from the back was also a form of publicity for the imperial court. After this war, there might be many talented disciples joining them. Yes, Lord Protector. The divine king bowed respectfully towards the command hall. With a wave of his hand, a ring of light spanning over 1,000 kilometers appeared. The imprisonment circle was also a warning circle. Once one unleashed their energy here, they would be instantly imprisoned and discovered. This was to prevent any accidents from happening at the back. Of course, they also had some defenses at the back. These defenses were enough to deal with First-Order God Emperors. Therefore, they weren't afraid of the Dragon Palace ambushing them from the back. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lords. Haha, quick, quick. The battle ahead is too terrifying. Is this the strength of our imperial court? If this was posted on the artificial intelligence system, it would definitely cause an uproar. The entire Imperial Star domain is paying attention to this war. Take more pictures of the situation at the Dragon Palace. Let others curse at this damned Dragon Palace. Chapter 2795. SS. What a terrifying battle. Is this the battle of the deep abyss? The densely packed abyssal species are simply endless. Our imperial court is so strong. Is that a battle between god emperors? I can't see the exact situation at all. Even through the video, I can feel the suffocating aura. It's too strong. The Dragon Palace is attacking the imperial court. They want the deep abyss to devour our territory. They are our enemies. I want to go to the deep abyss battlefield too. I want to cheer for the warriors of the imperial court. The entire Imperial Star region was paying attention to the battle of the deep abyss. But no one knew the exact situation of the battle. When some people shared videos of the battle at the front lines, and some even started live streaming it, it instantly attracted the attention of the entire Imperial Star region. Through some blurry images, they could feel a corner of the battle. When some people saw people coming to the back of the battlefield, some dared to move. Such a vast war was a feast for the eyes of many. Of course, they wanted to see the Imperial Court defeat the Deep Abyss race and destroy the Dragon Palace. People from other parts of the Imperial Star region couldn't help but rush over. The Imperial Court didn't stop people from watching, but everyone was tested by the Imperial Court in case anything happened. There are so many Deep Abyss race. There's no end to them at all. Can the Imperial Court win? My grandpa and the others are on the battlefield too. I hope they can destroy these bastards. Look over there. Those are the people from the Dragon Palace. They are attacking us. Kill them. Kill them. More and more people gathered at the back of the battlefield. They stared at the vast battle and roared with excitement and anger. Standing here and feeling the battle between the Imperial Dynasty experts, they felt like they were facing a common enemy, especially those who had family members fighting at the front. Their hatred for the Dragon Palace was even deeper. Why isn't the Imperial Court counterattacking? Why is it only defending? Why isn't it counterattacking? That's right. The Imperial Court has been defending and hasn't attacked. But we have completely blocked their attacks. The Imperial Court seems to be waiting for a chance to destroy the Deep Abyss race and the Dragon Palace. I heard that this battle is focused on defense. On the cage, everyone discussed. In a short hour, the number of people gathered had reached 100,000. All of them were Imperial Dynasty disciples who had rushed over to pay attention to the battle. There were also specialized media outlets who came here to broadcast live and explain on the spot. The entire Imperial Star region was watching. With such a huge amount of attention, the Dragon Palace naturally became even more infamous. Exterminating their 9 clans, exterminating all of them, imprisoning them and torturing them for billions of years, and so on. Humph, a mere Dragon Palace. Even if you borrow the power of countless abyssal species, you won't be able to break through our defense. Just wait for the Imperial Court's punishment in the future. Ha ha ha. 3 hours later, the battle lasted for 3 hours. The entire battlefield was in a complete stalemate, and even the fighting spirit of the countless abyssal species in the surroundings was greatly diminished. On the Divine Flame Star, a guardian of the Imperial Court roared at Wang Xian and the rest with a ferocious expression. Your Dragon Palace is destined to perish by associating with beasts. You killed people from the Imperial Court and the human God Emperor. Your Dragon Palace is unforgivable. One of the protectors in the command hall roared happily. This was the ideal situation for the Imperial Court. After this war, the Dragon Palace and even the abyssal species would be annihilated when the Sky Witch region and the Witch Union arrived. Annihilate the Dragon Palace. Annihilate the Dragon King. Annihilate the Dragon Palace. Annihilate the Dragon King. 3 hours later, millions of people gathered on the imprisonment platform at the back of the Abyss battlefield. They roared with flushed faces as they observed the situation on the battlefield. The laughter of the protectors meant that the Imperial Court was in favor of this war. To them, this was also an exciting thing. Yamada Demon Fiend, ignore them. Yamada Demon Fiend and Yamada Demon Fiend wanted to curse but were stopped by Wang Xian. The next attack had to be a surprise attack. Since it was a surprise attack, it would make the Imperial Court think that the Dragon Palace had no trump cards left. Hee, since the Dragon King has said so, let's stop talking nonsense. Yamada Demon Fiend smiled faintly and said, "Wait, continue waiting." Wang Xian said plainly, "The war wouldn't end so quickly. Even if they couldn't break through the defense of the Imperial Court, this war would still last for 2 to 3 days. It had only been 3 hours. He glanced at the back of the Imperial Dynasty's forces and smirked coldly when he heard the voices coming from within. Soon, all of you will shut up. Hee, those guys from the Dragon Palace have already shut up. In the command hall, a protector stared at the Dragon Palace with murderous intent and said coldly, "They are just grasshoppers after autumn. They won't be able to last long." The chief protector swept a glance and looked to the side. Compared to the entire Abyss race, the Dragon Palace wasn't important. The Abyss race was the key enemy. The Dragon Palace and the Abyss race have attacked the Imperial Court together. It has been more than 10 hours and our casualties are almost negligible. The attack of the Abyss race and Dragon Palace is destined to fail. They are destined to be unable to break through the defense of our Emperor gods. The Imperial Court is invincible in the entire Imperial Star region. We will focus on defense for this war. In a few days, it will be time for us to counterattack. That will be the time when the Dragon Palace and the Abyss race are annihilated. Since the start of the war, the casualties of the Imperial Court have not exceeded 10,000 disciples. But the losses of the Abyss race are thousands of times more. This is our Imperial Court, our foundation. The situation of the war was quickly spread on the computer. Many people were slightly excited by the news. At least from the looks of it, the Imperial Court had the upper hand. Everyone was discussing fervently. Time passed slowly. A day had passed since the outbreak of the war. The entire battlefield was still in a stalemate. The Abyss race in the Abyss was still roaring. The Dragon Palace's attacks were still being unleashed continuously. But the situation didn't change. It's about time. The Imperial Court hasn't released any powerful trump cards to break through the situation for an entire day. They probably don't have many trump cards left. When it was close to 30 hours, Wang Xian looked around and murmured, "It's about time, Dragon King. I also think we can make a move." Roving Demon has already entered the other side. The corner of Tianjun's mouth curved. "Yeah, it's time to silence the Imperial Star region." Chapter 2796. Ha ha ha. Block. Block this group of bastards. Given the strength of our Imperial Court, if we focus on defense, they won't be able to break through our defense. I thought those bastards from Dragon Palace were strong, but they still can't break through our defense. In the Abyss battlefield, as time passed, the tense atmosphere started to dissipate. Especially to the Imperial Court, after an entire day, the Abyss species and Dragon Palace couldn't do anything to them. This made them feel much more relaxed. Based on this situation, even if they fought for 2 days, they would still be relaxed. Originally, they thought that the battlefield would be very intense, and they would suffer many casualties. But at this time, unless they were careless or had bad luck, it would be hard for them to die. This caused the Imperial Dynasty disciples to laugh out loud as they chatted with one another. "Dragon King, the array is ready. I'll send 2 avatars over, at the front. Later on, I'll charge over and see if they have any trump cards. If the Imperial Court reveals their trump cards to block me again, Dragon King, you can attack." At the same time, at the Dragon Palace, the group of Dragon Palace members were equally relaxed. Sky Formation sensed the position outside the Abyss and said with a smile, "Sure." Wang Xian nodded his head slightly. His gaze swept across everyone in the Imperial Court, and his eyes shone with a cold light. Wang. At this moment, Tianjun's body moved and turned into 3 strange monsters. The other 2 smiled at Wang Xian before disappearing. "Ha ha ha, Imperial Court, let me teach you a lesson today." Tianjun laughed out loud, and a terrifying aura surged from his body. With a swift movement, he flew forward. At the same time, He waved his arm, and the 5 elements array quickly gathered in his hand. Huh! Sky formation suddenly flew into the sky and gave off a god emperor's aura, shocking everyone in the imperial court. This was especially true for those disciples who had a relaxed expression on their faces. Their relaxed expressions instantly stiffened. This is the final trump card of your dragon palace? Can't hold it in anymore? Sky formation god emperor. At the command hall, Chief Protector stared at the strange sky formation god emperor, and his expression changed slightly. But he didn't panic too much. They had guessed that heaven formation possessed the power of an emperor god. This was the worst-case scenario, but it had come true today. However, even if it was the worst-case scenario, they still had a way to deal with it. Oh? A puny imperial court expert can actually recognize me? Tianjun asked coldly with a flash of surprise in his eyes when he heard the Great Protector's words. Ha ha ha. Nothing can be hidden from the imperial court in our imperial star region. Sky Array God Emperor, you shouldn't have offended our imperial court. It wasn't easy for you to revive, and now you're going to die. Hee hee. The Great Protector of the imperial court stared coldly at Sky Array God Emperor. He was filled with killing intent. Fallen? If I'm not mistaken, you're in front of the heavenly wizard domain right now, informing those fellows from the Wizard Association and then joining forces with them to kill me, right? When Sky Array God Emperor heard his words, his eyes flickered slightly. He could guess why the imperial court said that they would destroy the Dragon Palace within a month. Since the imperial dynasty found out about his identity, they naturally had to inform the Shaman Alliance. If the imperial court and Shaman Alliance joined forces, they would definitely destroy the Dragon Palace, and even the Abyss species here. Sky Array God Emperor, you're courting death by offending our imperial court. From above came the cold voice of an imperial court god emperor. Ha ha ha, is that so? If that's the case, we'll have to kill you as soon as possible. Tianjun let out an arrogant laugh. A dazzling aura of a peak expert in the starry sky could be seen. Kill us? If you've recovered to your peak, you alone can destroy our imperial court. But now, you have no chance. The god emperor in the sky continued to shout coldly. Is that so? Then let's see. Sky Array God Emperor waved his arm, and the 5 elements formation in front of him shot towards the imperial court. Heaven net, earth net, open. The Great Protector of the imperial court moved and flew out of the command hall. Behind him, 2 incomparably huge lightning nets appeared in an instant. The 2 nets went against Tianjun's formation. SSS, something happened. Sky Array God Emperor? Which Sky Array God Emperor? Is it the Sky Array God Emperor who died 10 million years ago? Why is he still alive and making an enemy out of the imperial court? Don't panic. We've already made preparations. So what if it's the Sky Array God Emperor? Wasn't he almost destroyed 10 million years ago? Plus, he's no longer at his peak. No wonder the Great Protectors said they'd destroy Dragon Palace in a month. This war is also focused on defense. We're waiting for the Shaman Alliance experts. Once they arrive, we'll team up with the Shaman Alliance and destroy them easily. The Sky Array God Emperor's identity being exposed caused quite a commotion, especially to those watching from the rear. This was a legendary figure, the main character of the Battle of Emperor's Fall. But seeing that the imperial court had made preparations, they heaved a sigh of relief. Crackle, crackle. Heaven net, earth net, 2 terrifying god emperors. The 2 nets enveloped Tianjun's formation. The powerful formation broke Tianjun's attack. Wong wong wong. At this time, Tianjun's arm waved continuously, sending formation after formation forward. But heaven net and earth net seemed to have enveloped the entire void, heading towards the various formations. Any attack that was enveloped was destroyed by heaven net and earth net. The bolts of divine lightning struck down like terrifying tribulation lightning, destroying everything inside. Ha ha ha, Sky Array God Emperor, is that all you've got? Heaven net breaks all techniques. Imperial Court's Great Protector laughed as he saw Tianjun's attacks being destroyed one after another. I have to say, the Imperial Court sure has a lot of trump cards. But the real war has just begun. Seeing that Tianjin's formation could not break through HeavenNet and EarthNet's defense, Wang Xian flew up into the sky. Roar! With that, he roared like a divine dragon. His arm turned into a terrifying dragon claw. At this moment, the might of a god emperor burst forth. The huge dragon claw struck towards HeavenNet and EarthNet. Seeing Wang Xian rush out and the burst of power, everyone in the imperial court was slightly moved. Dragon King, you're also a god emperor. Imperial court's great protector stared at Wang Xian in shock and anger as he roared. Didn't you say you're going to destroy our dragon palace? Today, I'd like to see who's going to destroy who. Wang Xian hovered above the abyss and swung his dragon claw. Chapter 2797. The Dragon King also has the strength of an emperor god. How? How is this possible? Wasn't he still a peak divine king not long ago? What a terrifying speed of improvement. The Dragon King of Dragon Palace also has such strength. In addition to the Sky Array God Emperor, there are two of them. Is this the trump card of Dragon Palace? When everyone in the imperial court saw the strength that Wang Xian displayed, their expressions changed drastically. The trump card of Dragon Palace was beyond their imagination. The appearance of the Sky Array God Emperor had already shocked them. Now, the Dragon King had also reached the Emperor God realm, a small dragon palace with two Emperor gods. Oh no, the Dragon King also has the strength of an Emperor God. We might be in trouble. On the imprisonment platform, the people from the Imperial Star Domain who came to watch the battle were also embarrassed. They stared at the huge dragon claw in fear. Crackle! In the abyss, Wang Xian's horrifying dragon claw landed on the HeavenNet and EarthNet, giving off the sound of thunder. The entire HeavenNet and EarthNet started to change shape. Unexpected, really unexpected. The Dragon King has also reached the Emperor God realm. However, even if you have reached the Emperor God realm, do you think the Imperial Court is afraid of you? We, the Imperial Court, are not afraid of you. The great protector of the Imperial Court gritted his teeth and roared. Divine net, open. With a wave of his arm, another huge net appeared in the sky from the command hall. The entire net was formed from dazzling lightning. On it, there was a phantom image of a spider flickering. The spider was over 100 kilometers in size. The entire divine net seemed to be formed by this mystical spider. Heaven net, earth net, divine net. In the next moment, the great protector of the imperial court, who had not made a move yet, rushed out to control the three nets. Three gigantic nets that blotted out the sky connected together, once again blocking out a part of the void. Attack! Seeing the three nets, Wang Xian's expression changed slightly. He roared and launched another attack with Heaven Array. Boom, boom, boom. Crackle! When their attack struck, the Heaven Earth Net and Divine Net covered them. The thunder spiders on the divine webs were jumping on the three giant webs. The all-out attack of Wang Xian and heavenly formation was blocked. Ha ha ha, the Heaven and Earth Gods' three nets is our imperial dynasty's supreme treasure. With your newly advanced God Emperor strength, don't even think about breaking through the defense of the Heaven and Earth Gods' three nets. Imperial Court's great protector roared with laughter when he saw this. Is this all your trump card? Wang Xian bellowed coldly. Ha ha ha, then you can try and see if our Imperial Court still has any trump cards. The great protector of the Imperial Court raised his head slightly and said with a cold expression, We blocked them. Our Imperial Court blocked two God Emperors. Is this the foundation and trump card of our Imperial Court? Too strong. Ha ha ha, he blocked it. He easily blocked it. When the disciples of Imperial Court saw this, they were all excited. Everyone on the confinement platform heaved a heavy sigh of relief. Their faces were filled with excitement. Imperial Dynasty has so many trump cards? At this moment, a voice was heard from the side of the confinement platform. That's for sure. How can a small dragon palace go against our Imperial Court? TSK, Sky Array God Emperor, that Dragon King will be slaughtered in no time. The voice was loud, and some people on the confinement platform answered without hesitation. Oh, then I, Sky Array, Would like to see how many trump cards the Imperial Court has. Boom. The calm voice continued to ring out, followed by a vast pressure that suddenly soared into the sky. Ka ka ka. The confinement platform at the side collapsed instantly. What? Sky Array, Sky Array. He is Sky Array God Emperor. Suddenly, an incomparably violent aura surged from their side. Everyone's expressions changed drastically, and their eyes were filled with fear. Boom. But before they could react, a terrifying attack headed towards the group of Imperial Court disciples in front of them. The terrifying attack instantly covered a radius of a few 100 million kilometers. Oh no, there are God Emperor level experts behind us. Oh no, there's a sneak attack behind us. When the attack of the heaven formation struck forward, all the disciples at the front had a look of horror on their faces. Within the command hall, Imperial Court's protector felt the huge change behind him and his heart skipped a beat. Boom, boom, boom. Oh no, protector, save us. However, the Imperial Court and the others couldn't react in time at all. The terrifying attack landed in front of them and covered a region. Everyone in that region was instantly enveloped by the energy. In the next moment, millions of Imperial Court experts and disciples were killed. There are even God Emperor level experts. Imperial Court's protector let out a low roar and his eyes were filled with disbelief. Ha ha ha, Sky Array, dominated the world back then. Even if I haven't recovered to my peak, I'm still not someone an ordinary God Emperor can match up to. Continue. Let me see your trump cards. Sky Array roared. He waved his arm and a wind lightning formation formed in front of him. Damn it, Light God Hall, rise. Imperial Court's protector's expression was ugly. He slammed his arm on the table in the command hall, causing the entire hall to shake. Boom. A majestic power of light was released from the command hall. No, it should be the Light God Hall. The Light God Hall shot into the sky and attacked Sky Array. TSK, TSK, TSK. You really have a lot of trump cards. Sky Array felt the might of the Light God Hall, pursed his lips and said coldly, "The foundation of the Imperial Court is beyond your imagination." Imperial Court's protector clenched his teeth and shouted at Sky Array. Boom. Sky Array's formation attacked the Light God Hall. The entire Light God Hall shone brightly and a pair of wings of light appeared. The powerful wings of light blocked Sky Array's attack. The Imperial Court blocked it again. At this moment, even the Imperial Court's disciples and the spectators were shocked. The Imperial Court was too strong. However, the Dragon Palace was a little terrifying too. Ha ha ha, I am the last trump card of the Dragon Palace. Come on, Imperial Court, let me see if you have any more trump cards. Boom. At this moment, a maniacal laughter could be heard from a place not far away. What followed was a terrifying attack and the screams of the Imperial Court's disciples. At the place where the Imperial Court and the Abyss species fought, a crack that spanned hundreds of millions of kilometers was torn open. All the Imperial Court's disciples at the crack were killed in one move. The last trump card of the Dragon Palace, the last avatar of the Sky Array God Emperor. All trump cards, fight to the death. Chapter 2798. No, there's another Emperor God in the Imperial Court. How is this possible? How is this possible? When the laughter, the terrifying attack, and the screams of the Imperial Court disciples were heard, the chief protector of the Imperial Court in the Light Shrine immediately turned around. When he saw another Emperor God, his face was filled with disbelief. Another Emperor God. Another Emperor God. The Dragon King, Sky Formation, and the two Sky Formation doppelgangers. Each of them had the power of an Emperor God. 4. A total of 4. There were only 4 God Emperors in the Imperial Court. Even though the Imperial Court had a strong foundation, for Emperor Gods was already beyond their limit. In fact, they would be at a disadvantage if they fought against the Dragon King and the other 2 Emperor Gods for a long time. For Emperor Gods was beyond their limit. Ha ha ha, it seems like the Imperial Court has run out of trump cards. Since that's the case, die. Boom boom boom. Seeing that no one was stopping him, Sky Formation let out a cold, murderous aura and roared furiously. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The last doppelganger, light and darkness. Beams of terrifying light and dark energy shot out in all directions. Oh no, great ancestor, we are no match for him. Please help, please help. On the biological war wall, the Imperial Court protectors and experts paled and broke out in cold sweat when they saw Sky Formation's light and darkness doppelgangers. Their faces were filled with terror as they cried out for help. Boom, boom, boom. However, when Sky Formation's light and darkness doppelgangers attacked, another huge crack was torn open. The two Imperial Dynasty protectors were killed right away. Ga. The energy of Sky Formation's attack disappeared. There were already 3 cracks in the Abyss battlefield. One was from the Dragon Palace and the other 2 were from the Abyss species. However, the Dragon Palace was blocked by the Divine Flame Star and the nets of Heaven, Earth, and Divine Net. The members of the Dragon Palace couldn't get through. However, it was different for the Abyss species. The Imperial Court was in charge of defense. Now that there was a crack in the defense, the Abyss species rushed in and killed the Imperial Court disciples on both sides. Only 100 million abyssal demons could enter through the 2 cracks. In particular, the 4 Imperial Court protectors in the 2 cracks had been killed. The left and right sides of the cracks had to face the attacks of at least 1 peak god king Abyss species. Not good. Hurry up and block this side. Don't let the Abyss species rush over. Release the weapons on the battleship. Fire. Fire. The instantaneous change caused the Imperial Dynasty's stabilized situation to panic. However, the Imperial Dynasty's protectors reacted quickly and ordered the disciples behind to attack. It was an attack, not a defense. Boom, boom, boom. In the rear, the battleships that were millions of kilometers in size released endless cannon fire, bombarding the crack. A large number of artillery shells killed countless abyssal species. Hee, Imperial Court, your destruction has begun. The light and darkness doppelganger of the Sky Formation roared coldly. With a move of his body, a vast amount of energy shot towards the side. A God Emperor massacred existences below the God Emperor realm, and also had to face the Abyss species that were no weaker than them. Under such a situation, the experts and disciples of Imperial Dynasty couldn't fight back at all. Great Ancestor, we can't hold on any longer. We are about to be defeated. Seeing the light and darkness doppelganger of the Sky Formation God Emperor charging over, an Imperial Court protector roared in fear. Roar. In the sky, a God Emperor roared in indignation. Retreat. All Imperial Court disciples retreat immediately. He roared sternly. In the sky, the 4 great ancestors were fighting with Xiao Lan and the rest. In a day's time, there wasn't a clear winner. However, this was within the expectations of the 4 God Emperors. What they didn't expect was that the Dragon Palace would have so many God Emperors. 4. A whole 4. This was completely out of their expectations. The Imperial Court had used more than 600 million years of foundation, but still couldn't hold on. The balance of the battle was already out of balance. At this time, the more they fought, the more Imperial Court experts would die. Retreat. At this time, they could only retreat, even if it meant letting the Abyss species expand their Abyss domain. But they had at most half a month. Half a month later, when the experts from the Witchcraft Association arrived, it would be time for them to counterattack. It won't be that easy to escape. Ha ha ha. All of you Imperial Court protectors, die. Seeing that the Imperial Court God Emperor had given the order to retreat, Sky Formation's face was filled with a sinister expression. He locked his gaze on the Imperial Court protectors and charged over with murderous intent. At this time, he was mainly killing the peak combat power of the Imperial Court. Kill, kill, kill. All Dragon Palace disciples, kill? Upon seeing this, Wang Xian bellowed with a frenzied expression. Kill. The members of Dragon Palace released a strong fighting spirit. This time, they didn't continue with long-range attacks, but charged forward. Woo-woo. Woo-woo. Little Blue and the 2 Void God Emperor Abyss species from the Black Magic system looked up and let out a furious roar. The next moment, the entire Abyss battlefield went berserk again. Sky Formation's light and darkness doppelganger broke the balance. The Abyss species fought and blood splattered everywhere. Under the orders of the Emperor God Emperor Abyss species and Shaolon, all the Abyss species went berserk. They surged forward in a frenzy. Retreat, retreat. 20 to 30 peak God King realm experts. Restrain that Emperor God. Restrain him. Boom, boom, boom. All the experts and disciples of the imperial court saw the Abyss species going berserk and saw an Emperor God wreaking havoc in the sky. They shouted in fear. Restrain him. Swish, swish, swish. Seeing that Sky Formation was killing the imperial court protectors one by one of the protectors roared. Instantly, over 20 imperial court protectors attacked Sky Formation. They wanted to restrain him. Boom. Do you really think you can restrain me with just this light shrine? Ha ha ha. But suddenly, Sky Formation Feng Lei's figure flashed and broke free from the light shrine. He instantly came to the side of the light and darkness doppelganger. As he waved his arm, the void trembled. Array after array was formed and attacked the 20 imperial court protectors. The light and darkness doppelganger didn't hesitate and waved the array in front of him. Boom boom. Pooh. No. Over 20 peak God King realm experts found it hard to restrain one Emperor God, much less two. In an instant, over 20 protectors were severely injured and half of them died. Dragon Palace, you deserve to die. The Imperial Court Protector controlled the light shrine to charge over. When he saw the scene in front of him, he roared with bloodshot eyes. Chapter 2799. Ha ha ha. Tianjun's maniacal laughter rang out once more. He turned around and attacked the Light God Palace. Die! The light and darkness clone moved and attacked the dozen injured Imperial Court protectors. Shit, run, run. 20 protectors could still fight against the light and darkness clone, but a dozen of them wouldn't be able to fight against the God Emperor. They could only run. Formation, darkness cage. Tianjin's light and darkness clone hollered, and the darkness cages locked them down. Shit, save us. The expressions of the dozen or so Imperial Court protectors changed drastically as they roared in fear. Shit, more than a dozen of our Imperial Dynasty protectors were killed. Why does the Dragon Palace have so many experts? Why do they have so many experts? Hurry up and run. The Abyss species behind us are coming. Shit, the protectors are in danger. When the surrounding experts and disciples heard the protectors' cries for help, their hearts pounded. They looked over and felt their scalps go numb. They were the protectors of the Imperial Dynasty, peak God Kings. Usually, each of them held the life and death of many people in their hands. But now, more than a dozen protectors were trapped and all of them looked on blankly. At this moment, no one dared to help or save them. The disciples of the Imperial Dynasty didn't have the strength to do so. More than a dozen protectors were trapped by the formation, and they could only watch as they were killed. All disciples, escape from the abyss immediately. An Imperial Dynasty protector looked over and hollered with bloodshot eyes. Hee. Tianjin's light and darkness clone snickered coldly. He locked his gaze on where the Imperial Dynasty Abyss Kings were gathered. He waved his arm and the formation covered them. No, no, no. Feudal resistance. Screams of despair rang out as the tens of thousands of God Kings of the Imperial Court that had gathered together were killed. After killing them, Tianjun waved his arm and kept their corpses. Continue. He locked onto the experts of the Imperial Court and attacked them quickly. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, because all the Imperial Court disciples were retreating, the Heavenly Formation Wind Thunder clone found an opportunity to attack the Light Shrine and shift the battlefield towards the Imperial Court disciples. The Great Protector of the Imperial Court could only control the Light Shrine to resist the Emperor God, but it was impossible for him to completely restrain and trap the Emperor God. Under such circumstances, the Heavenly Formation Tempest clone shifted the battlefield, and just the shockwaves alone caused the deaths of countless Imperial Court disciples. Facing such a situation, the Imperial Court Protector's body trembled. He didn't know whether to attack or not. Suddenly, a series of screams rang out. Some of the experts from the imperial dynasty hurriedly looked in that direction. Behind them, tens of thousands of strange figures suddenly appeared. They were covered in black and white energy and suddenly appeared behind some imperial dynasty experts. The incomparably sharp claws directly pierced through his body. In the blink of an eye, over 40,000 imperial court experts had died. They collected all the corpses and disappeared from everyone's sight in the next moment. Be careful. Those are the assassins from Dragon Palace. Be careful. Experts who are good at scouting, keep an eye on the surroundings. Don't let those people from Dragon Palace succeed. A furious voice rang out, commanding the imperial court disciples to retreat. Heavenly formation. Don't let them escape. Get the heaven-earth divine 3 nets. Inside, Wang Xian and heavenly formation were fighting against the heaven-earth divine 3 nets. The heaven-earth divine 3 nets were indeed treasures of the imperial court, to be able to trap him and heavenly formation here. Don't worry, Dragon King. As long as they don't escape, the heaven-earth divine 3 nets will belong to our Dragon Palace. Ha ha ha. Heavenly formation laughed out loud, not bothering to hide it. This caused the expressions of the 3 imperial court protectors who were controlling the heaven-earth divine 3 nets to change. Given the current situation, if they didn't escape, when that emperor god-level existence attacked, what awaited them would be death. And the heaven-earth divine 3 nets in their hands would also become treasures of the Dragon Palace. But if they retreated now, the rest of the imperial court disciples would be slaughtered by Dragon King and heavenly formation god emperor. Don't let them get the heaven-earth divine 3 nets. At this moment, the furious roar of an emperor god could be heard from above. The heaven-earth divine 3 nets was the treasure of the imperial court, an existence that could go against the imperial court. Once the Dragon Palace got it, it would be equivalent to having 2 more void emperor gods. This would be a huge blow to the imperial court. In fact, if the Dragon Palace had the heaven-earth divine 3 nets, along with the emperor gods of Dragon Palace and the abyss type of emperor gods, even if they joined forces with the Shaman Alliance, they might not be able to destroy the other party. Retreat. The 3 imperial court protectors exchanged glances upon hearing the great ancestor's order. Without any hesitation, they fled towards the back. Kill. Wang Xian was taken aback when he saw them running away. Boom. He moved, extended his dragon claws, and attacked the flame god star. Oh no. Run, we have to run too. The protectors on the flame god star saw the Dragon King's attack, and their expressions changed. They were originally fighting against the experts of the imperial court, and at this moment, they couldn't withstand the attack of an emperor god. Block. Seeing the attack coming towards them, the millions of fire attribute imperial court disciples roared. Boom, boom, boom. The dragon claws landed on the flame god star, and flames splattered everywhere. The terrifying defense collapsed. Dragon King, leave it to me. This flame god star is also a treasure. The heavenly formation roared as a series of water snakes appeared around it. Countless water snakes flew towards the fiery god planet. Ah! Endless screams sounded out, including the few imperial court protectors inside. Kill. Kill at least 20 imperial dynasty protectors to break even. Seeing that the flame god star was taken care of, Wang Xian looked ahead. The 3 protectors led the heaven-earth divine 3 nets and fled, ignoring the heavenly formation's light and darkness doppelgangers. Wang Xian shouted at the heavenly formation, and in a flash, he appeared above the imperial court disciples. He locked his gaze on the 9th Order God King Realm Elders and Peak God King Realm Protectors, and charged towards them. Roar, roar, roar. Dragon Palace, you're asking for it. At this time, in the sky above, an imperial court great ancestor broke free from the attack of an abyss-type emperor god emperor. His eyes were bloodshot, and he let out a beast-like roar as he charged towards the heavenly formation immortal. The 4 emperor gods were going all out. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.